This is Colin Baker speaking, the Sixth Doctor, but you are the lucky ones because you are travelling the Vortex.
Traveling the Vortex.
We've joined the Doctor as he travels the Vortex and landed in episode number 167, an intergalactic song contest. I'm Keith.
I'm Sean.
I'm Glenn.
How are you guys?
Melodic.
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 Melodic? Is that a word? It is now. Write that one down.
Canadian.
We're not going there this week.
Oh,
Hey,
we're
Flicks
recording.
with Friends got posted. Awesome.
We're recording late this week again.
Yeah, whose fault is that, Keith?
That's Kim's fault for taking vacation.
So
That's right.
we'll find out what we missed this week.
Well, and
It
then
won't matter. There'll be news tomorrow.
it doesn't matter.
That's true. We can't catch a break. We record on Sunday, new news breaks on Monday. Then we finally get a record on Tuesday, or don't get to, but we
record.
And news breaks on Wednesday. So
We're just trendsetters.
I guess. Wait, what news broke on Wednesday though?
The Blu-ray.
Oh, that's
yeah.
what it was. Yeah.
We'll get to that in a minute, Glenn. How was your week?
Good. I started last week, didn't I? No, you started last week.
I started
you
last
start
week.
this week, Sean.
What'd you do this week, Sean?
You always have the most to talk about, so let's get you out of the way.
No, lately it's been work and school. That's
I
it.
went to work. I went to school.
He'll go into like a 20-minute
Oh,
diatribe on
tangent
something
on
that he
something
watched.
else.
Yeah. What'd you watch this week?
I didn't watch anything this week.
What?
No. I bought my Hunger Games Steelbook. That was pretty cool.
Did you get the Catching Fire Steelbook?
Or the Catching Fire Steelbook, pardon me.
okay.
Hunger Games Catching Fire.
Did Hunger Games get a steelbook release?
They reissued it.
This one.
Did they?
As a
This
steelbook,
week.
but I don't like it. There's an earlier one that's online, but it's really expensive. And I found one that was pseudo cheap, but it was really banged up. I was
I
like,
wonder
"Nah,
what
I'm
the
not-"
final box set's going to look like.
It'll be a
I'm trying to
box
think
with
ahead.
3 discs in it.
Well,
too.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, maybe not even
Well,
3. It could be a fold-out.
That's true.
Like
Not if it's a
Jurassic
steelbook.
Park. Not if it's a steelbook.
Well, it'll have at least 3 discs in it.
At least. Likely a 6-disc set.
I finalized some things for my school project and started thinking about a new film that we're going to be working on for that. And, we went and saw a Young Frankenstein.
You did see something. Oh, well, that wasn't a movie.
I did see something, yeah. Went and saw
How was
Young Frankenstein the musical. It was a musical show, wasn't it? It was good. It was one of those that anytime you do an adaptation, I think we talked a little bit about this with Spam-A-Lot, that you kind of have to toe that line between you either have to do it exactly like they did it in the movie to appease fans of the movie, or you really have to change it in order to kind of branch out and do your own thing. And this kind of, I felt, fell right in the middle, where they did some stuff that was very, very similar and very close and very spot on, and then they did some other things that, because of the structure of the musical, you knew were going to be different.
Well, they had to add more songs.
Well, that's that. Yeah. Well, that's
They had
There's
a
only
lot
the
more
one
songs.
musical number in the movie.
Oh, my mic is falling into my. How'd that happen?
You leaned forward and hooked it with your
Did I?
your earbuds.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
The sound you just heard was Glenn Bartlett's heart. Thump, thump.
It fell lower than my heart. As my stomach.
Dun, dun,
churned.
dun.
It was indigestion.
I liked it. I thought it was great, and
I
they
did
did
too.
a fantastic
Did you guys
job.
go together or just
With the same
happened?
night, we didn't actually go together. I think I
Just-
said
it just so
I said-
happened that
I
you guys were going?
No. We our friend Dave Wheeler got us tickets. And
And lo and behold, Glenn was there. And I thought, damn it. I just can't escape this guy.
I think I said like 2 words to you the whole time we were there.
Well, you were on a different tier.
Yeah,
that makes it a
you
little
were.
more
Oh,
difficult.
so you weren't at
but
the same table.
No,
Yeah.
not
Oh,
even.
okay.
No.
So then you didn't
They
go
were-
together.
They were down and over 2
We-
tables.
You didn't go together.
We were in a group. We
the
took
whole
up
group was part of the same.
3 or 4 tables.
I
But we were
gotcha.
just...
It was Holly and I, Dave and Lori, Lori's sister, daughter, her husband, her sister's husband, Sean,
No.
Mel.
And then Joanne and Joanne's friend,
I
which
didn't
I
know the
can't remember
two.
her name now.
I didn't know those two. So Joanne and Joanne's friend. was a whole massive group.
Sounds like it.
But it was a good show.
It was Dave's birthday, too, so.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And then we discussed poker night. Maybe.
Ah, crud.
What?
I can't do Friday Night Who. No, it will be done before that.
It's Thursday.
Yeah.
I thought you said Thursday.
Oh, no, it's the following Thursday. Never mind.
It's next week Thursday.
Next week Thursday, not this Thursday.
Okay. Because it wouldn't be Friday Night Who.
I meant Flicks with Friends. But I suddenly thought I had a conflict. I don't.
It's Flicks with Friends is this Thursday?
Yeah, this Thursday.
11:30.
I can't do that.
Well, I figured Mel would be able to because she doesn't have to work the next day.
We don't care about you. We want Mel.
I figured you both would be able to do it because you don't have to work the next day.
I suppose we'll be packing, so we could put it on. And
Packing? Oh, I get your statement.
We're going. Yeah, we're doing the whole
2 days, 2 nights,
doing the whole shebang. Planet Comic Con this weekend. Very excited.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's it.
What else you do, Glenn?
I
went and saw Young Frankenstein.
I went and saw Young Frankenstein on Friday,
You saw a
which
slew
I
of things.
thoroughly loved. I watched Catching Fire. We bought Catching Fire and then watched it Saturday night
What'd you
after
think?
we got home from Young Frankenstein.
And you had not seen it, right?
Had not seen it. We promised Caitlin that she could watch it, so we stayed up. We all stayed up and watched it. I liked it. I don't know if I liked it any better than Hunger Games, but I don't know that I liked it any less. They're both great films, great adaptations of books. I thoroughly enjoyed the books. I think I said this long ago when I read Catching Fire. That's the absolute worst way to end a book, and it's equally as worse of a way to end a film. So there's nothing you can do. You can't end that book any differently.
No,
but it's a horrible way to end a book.
It's kind of like Doc laying there unconscious in the street, and Marty going, Doc, you got to wake up. And to be continued comes up.
Yeah.
What do you mean to be continued?
But
or Neo getting knocked unconscious, and
you're gonna argue this. You're gonna argue against this, but at least.
Well, I hope everything turns out okay. Let's go to Mordor.
Well, there's a good example. Except for the books didn't end the same way.
No, they didn't.
But if you use the Back to the Future argument, the storyline itself is resolved. It's just there's more. It's more cliffhangery.
Yeah.
This is more like we've just stopped the book in the middle of the story, and we're going to pick it up in another.
This is
novel.
Act 1 of a 2-act book.
This is exactly, and it's so abrupt and so. There's Empire Strikes Back at least has Lando and Chewie going off to find Han, but there's no resolution to this story. It just is done, and everybody argues. Now you haven't jumped in here yet, but everybody argues that the fact that Katniss takes down the game itself,
unwittingly. Well, she kind of knows at the time.
You just struck the nail on the head. She doesn't figure it out until right there at that second and does it.
For the character, it's not building to this.
Exactly.
For the situation, it is.
Exactly. And
because she has to be kept in the dark because she'd screw it up.
That's why it's just a horrible way to end a book. But again, I don't have a better solution. And I wasn't disappointed with the book because of the ending. But
for me, honestly, if it weren't for the ending, I would not have liked the book.
Yeah, well,
because I felt like it was too much of a rehashing until we got to that point, and I realized, they're building to something else.
Yeah, I don't know.
But that was me. I seem to be the minority on that.
Yeah, I don't agree with that view, but I can see why.
Well, reading it, I thought that. In hindsight, I don't know.
I had the fortunate. Probably the reason that ending didn't bother me is because I came to Hunger Games late in the game.
That's true.
And, I had Mockingjay sitting there ready for me to start reading as soon as I put down Catching Fire. So in essence, I had the next part of the story right there.
You didn't have to wait.
No, I didn't.
I didn't either. I read them all back to back to back.
Yeah, so did I. I can't imagine having to wait for that book.
Anyway.
For the third one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because, after the first one came out, you would have kind of thought, okay, that was good.
Yeah. And then you'd be like, wow, there's a sequel.
And then there's a sequel. And then you read the sequel. It's like, what do you mean the end?
At the end of that, it's like...
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was kind of how I felt when I got done with Wizard and Glass and had to wait 16 years for Stephen King to write another book.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I came to that one late to the game, too, so I didn't have to wait. I just kept going.
The dark
This is why
times.
I don't tend to get into series.
Anyway, Hunger's Game. Hunger's Game.
Yeah, you who's reading Game of Thrones.
Yeah, but I've got 4 books
Yeah, but they're
to get
all
to.
there.
Oh, no.
No.
He's not done.
He's not
He's
done.
writing
He's
7
got
books.
2 more books to go.
Good Lord. Well, you're not going to get there soon.
Well,
He's
at
not
the rate
gonna
he's
get there.
releasing them, the show's going to get there before the books are going to get there.
That's how I was.
Glaciers will come back before he's done writing.
That's
his
how I
books.
was with the Harry Potter books. I was in that excruciating wait between 6 and 7. Excruciating.
See, I figure by the
wait.
time I get ready for book 6 of Game of Thrones, it'll be out by the time I actually get there. And then I'll just have to wait for book 7. And then I'll know how it ends because the show's over. Because it's only going to go 8 seasons. So
They're going to have to come up with their own alternate ending.
no, he's given them the ending.
According
to a new article, he's
Nah.
given them the ending.
It won't work.
Now, yeah, he could change it, but he better start writing.
Anyway, Hunger Games Catching Fire was good. We also watched Frozen this weekend.
How was that?
Oh,
I've had that stupid song stuck in my head for
wow.
like a week.
So have I.
Stupid song.
Speaking, it's
Which
not
one?
stupid at all.
Snowman?
But
It's not stupid, but I've had it stuck in my head, so it's annoying.
Do you want to build
me.
a snowman? That one?
No, the main.
You
No,
want-
the other ones.
the Let It Go. I haven't seen the film yet.
Let it go.
Oh.
Let it go.
You still haven't seen it? I thought you had seen it.
No, about this rate. It's still at the big theater.
It is.
It's coming
Well,
out
it
on
doesn't come out
DVD
Well,
for like in 2 weeks, and
Yeah.
it hasn't even hit the cheap theater.
and I waited this long to see it, and I thought, well, I'll just wait a couple more weeks and I'll buy it on Blu-ray. And then we were talking about it all weekend, and then I looked, and it's on iTunes already.
digital,
You can digitally
yeah.
download it, and so I went, okay, I'll pay for it twice. What the heck? So I also have. One of those things about being a Mac user or Apple user is you know what you get for all of your birthdays and Christmases and all the gifts
you
you
get
ever
iTunes
get. You
gift
get
cards.
iTunes gift cards.
Yeah.
So I've just got money to burn there. So I was like, we'll get it. I could have rented it for $3 and I bought it for like 10. So it's like,
Well,
yeah,
at
just
least that way the kids can rewatch it.
it was thoroughly worth it. Gosh, it was so good.
And not a movie
it's-
about a snowman.
You know what?
For those who've only seen the teaser trailer, yes.
I really thought there was a moose and a snowman in this picture, and then there were princesses and singing, and I was like, what the heck?
It is all the great qualities of Tangled and all of the great qualities
That's
of
Tangled as well. It's funny to see
Wreck-It
it.
Ralph and put into one film.
Oh.
And it
Kristen Bell.
harkens back to that same heart and feel as The Little Mermaid. It's got all the magic. It's all there. Loved it.
I don't know about the Wreck-It Ralph comparison, but everything else you said was right
Perhaps
on.
are you meaning more the look and the feel of it?
Well, no, the look and feel's more from Tangled. But Wreck-It Ralph is a good story, good solid story. That's the best.
Good modern story?
Yeah, well, it's the best. I think Wreck-It Ralph's the best story that they've come up with in a long time. Tangled's a good story as well, but Wreck-It Ralph was a good solid
Well, but
story.
Wreck-It Ralph
Well, this
is
is-
an
that's
original.
original.
And
This is
Tangled's
still-
It's based on a-
but,
yeah.
but so is
So is
Frozen.
Bad
Taking
news.
great
I've got bad
liberties.
news for you. Hans Christian Andersen, as it is with The Little Mermaid, is considerably different
Well,
than
well,
Hans
They
Christian
still had
Andersen's The
source
Snow
material.
Queen.
Based
More
on
than Wreck-It
material
Ralph did.
But what I'm
from.
saying is, it was good. Okay, not a good story. Good storytelling. It's great.
Okay.
Wreck-It Ralph was
Okay.
great storytelling.
Okay.
This one did the same thing. It was great storytelling. It weaved you in, captivated you all the way to the end. There was never a dull moment, and then, like I say, all of the magic that I think Tangled was the first film that really kind of recaptured the magic of the princess films, as far as Disney films go, and Wreck-It Ralph was the first film to have a really solid storytelling. And this took and did both with that. And then again, like I said, harken
Okay.
back to
I'll give you that.
Little Mermaid. So, no, it's nothing like Wreck-It Ralph. It's got the same heart.
Okay.
What else
But I
did
like
do
Princess and
this
the
week?
Frog.
Other than that, just a lot of catching up. I haven't started season 2 of Game of Thrones, but I intend to do that this week. I caught up on Arrow finally and some other things. So that's it.
I added
continue
Clone
the
Wars
hunt.
to my Netflix instant queue.
That's
That's part of what I did this week.
you mean your list? 'Cause
My
we don't
list.
have an
Your
instant
list.
queue
Yeah,
anymore.
I don't have an instant queue. I added it to my list, along with Archer Season 4.
I spent the better part of the week looking
I would have
for
added
my.
it automatically, wouldn't it?
What?
Archer Season 4. Because Archer's already in your instant queue, isn't it?
No, because
Oh,
I've
it's
already
not?
watched up through what was
so you
already
took it
out,
off.
so I took it out.
I'm done.
You're doing... Sorry.
Sorry.
That's all right. What'd you do, Keith?
Well, worked the overnight shift Friday and Mondays, which is why we're recording late. Rewatched the Clone Wars, the movie, because I hadn't seen it since I saw it in the theater. It's better than I remembered. I think it helps that I broke it up into 3 viewings.
So it's like 3 episodes?
3 episodes.
Like it should have been.
Yeah.
Well, how it was developed.
And the same things were there that annoyed me, like Ahsoka's nicknames and all of those little things. And I think I didn't mind them as much because I know it gets so much better later down the road. I think that could be why. And Zero still annoyed me. But other than those rather smaller things, and when I walked out of the theater and said, "Oh, that was utter crap."
Well, I think the thing that helped me on the second viewing was the fact that the first time I saw it, I was so used to the Star Wars films, and now you're in the theater again watching another Star Wars film.
You're expecting a Star Wars
and it's
film.
constructed considerably differently.
Yeah.
So
I highly recommend breaking up into 3 viewings.
Once you've watched the Clone Wars TV series, and you get that, kind of disgust of change out of your mouth, it kind of it helps a lot.
It really does. And then I started rewatching it. I'm only like 2 episodes in, the series itself. Picked up my dad from the airport. He's back from Thailand, so we spent most of Saturday night doing that because he came in at 9:53.
How was your trip?
It was a great trip. They had a really good time. Sounds like they didn't do as much sightseeing as they did the first time, but wedding, that happens.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
And then we watched Catching Fire last night too. So that was pretty much it because I worked a lot.
Did you rent it or did you buy it?
We bought it.
You bought it. When you said, "I wonder what the box set's going to be like," I wondered if you were holding out.
I was wanting to, but Sarah really wanted Catching Fire, and I said, "Well, if we wait a couple
of
weeks."
Hunger Games?
No, because they added it to Netflix, and so that was why we never picked it up because we were kind of hem-hawing about it. Should we pick it up? Should we wait for the box set of all 4 films?
Where'd you get yours?
Amazon.
If you got it at Walmart, the one I went to pick mine up, you could get both movies. Now, I don't think it came with all the extras. And
I think
whatnot,
it's both Blu-rays.
Both Blu-rays are in one box for
really?
just $2 more than what the actual movie is.
Wow.
Catching Fire is, yeah. Now, I don't think you get all the discs and Blu-ray extras and DVD and all that kind of stuff. But
you get the Walmart exclusive.
You get the 2.
They also had an edition with
what was the other
pendant.
thing I did this week? I watched, which I didn't buy it there for this, but I bought 4 at Walmart, and they had a little sticker on there and said exclusive, some Loki featurette.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
And so I got it, and I finally downloaded it this week and watched it.
Lame.
So lame. So lame. I will never go specifically to Walmart to buy for their extras based on that. Now, granted, I went there to get the price. I didn't go there. I didn't even know it had the special featurette, but I won't do it from here on out.
Going to Best Buy to get the special features for Star Trek Into Darkness, they weren't that much more special than what was included, and that was even more ridiculous.
Supposedly, there is a new Uber version that's on the horizon.
There's no deleted scenes on any of them.
Well, that's what everybody thinks is that there's been scuttlebutt talk about these deleted scenes that supposedly exist but didn't show up on any of the things.
I've seen
so now everybody's thinking that they're going to recombine all of that material from each special edition realtor release and give you the special scenes and put it together in your thing. And I got news for Paramount. I'm not buying it again.
No.
Aside from the fact that I didn't like the movie as much as they think I should have, I refuse to play that game where Walmart's got this and Target's got this and so Best Buy's got this. It's like, I'm not doing that.
The only reason I went with
yes, I'll do that. But content should be the same.
The Best Buy version I went with was because it matched the cover of the first release closer than every other place.
I haven't even bought it. And the only reason I own the first movie, I don't even own the first movie on disc. I have it on digital. The only reason I did that is because when I bought Star Trek Into Darkness, I got the digital download for free for the first movie.
Oh, your ticket.
Yeah, when I bought my ticket. I'm sorry. I just said I don't own it. Yeah, when I bought my ticket for Star Trek Into Darkness, they had a promotion where I got the Star Trek digital download for free. So
we also had audio over on Sunday, played some Lego Batman. And then I've also been working on Lego Marvel and finally beat the story mode on that.
On that when I came in. Yes. Well, not the story mode, but some of the bonuses.
So I've spent some nice
I don't get
lame
to play
downtime.
video games anymore.
You got on the other night. What'd you do? Watch something?
Last Friday
came up on my.
If I'm online, more than likely they're running Netflix because they watch it through the Xbox. So
I saw you pop on, and I was playing Minecraft.
I downloaded. Well, yeah, that's probably Billy and Mel then. Or you were playing.
I was playing.
You were playing.
Minecraft.
They played a little bit.
I didn't check to
the
see
other
what you guys were playing.
I always get on and check what people are
I
watching.
downloaded
like
Sid
to stalk
Meier's
people more on
Civilization.
PlayStation.
What?
I downloaded Sid Meier's Civilization. It was the free Games with Gold for Xbox
Yeah.
Live.
Yeah.
I love those games. I can't play it.
You'll get lost there.
I will disappear for a week, at least. That's why I don't have Roller Coaster Tycoon on my computer anymore.
I do. I get the third one. I can't get into it, though, because the interface is so different.
Yeah, after a month of playing that pretty much straight every day while I was unemployed, I was like,
I got
I gotta
sucked
go
into
get a
that,
job.
too.
I can't.
We all got sucked into that.
I can't sit here and do this all day.
I did that with that, and I did that with Sims the first time around, not when it was on PC.
Scary stuff.
Now
Those
I'm kind of
addictions.
sucked into Minecraft. In fact, I'll go home and play like for 2.5 hours on my computer and not realize that 2.5 hours has gone by.
Told you.
Yeah, but you got to see my world. It's so good. My house is immaculate. It's awesome. In fact, I just added a supply room. It's so good. I'll show you after the show.
I would think that now that there's new content for Doctor Who Legacy, your Minecraft.
Oh, we've
playing
both
would
already
be-
been through that.
Done. I blew through it.
Season 5?
That's
No,
not out yet.
That's not out yet.
Oh.
Only the epilogue is out.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. No, that'll
Well, I don't feel so bad for being behind that.
that'll take over.
Finished 6
yeah,
yet.
no. That'll take over.
Yeah,
all my
just-
time.
you just
No,
the epilogue.
There's only five epilogue
Five or
episodes.
6 episodes.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I blew through that the next day. In fact, I like maybe 2 hours of gameplay, and then I was done. And not even that much. And then
Yeah, it didn't take me long either. I just-
Captain Jack is an automatic drop, or at least he was for a while, a guaranteed drop.
A 100%
so it's
drop.
not a it's not a. I didn't have to wait on it, or I didn't have to play continually.
I was playing, because I've been going back and.
I'm not complaining. I'm so grateful for that.
I've been
Re-hit.
going back and replaying the levels with story that that they added.
I already went through that too.
Which we probably ought to if you don't subscribe to the.
Well, that's I
Tiny
did
Rebel
play for 2
Games.
hours. That's why because
Oh,
I was
because you
going
went
back
back.
to all of it.
If you don't subscribe to the newsletter from Tiny Rebel Games
They posted
and
it
Doctor
on
Who
their
Legacy,
Facebook,
did they
too.
post it on the Facebook
Yeah, 'cause
too?
that's where I got it.
Okay, they've posted a thing with the levels that this is where we added insert story parts, so you can go back and just hit those parts. Although Matt brought up an interesting point, guys over there at Tiny Rebel Games. For those of us that have played and know the story and are, you're completely set and ready to go, or if you're starting over replaying that first level just because you want to level up a new team or something, we should have the option to skip the story. I'm not complaining. I agree with him. I think that, once you've been through it 4, 5, 6 times, it's kind of like, get on with it.
For replays.
For replay value. Anyway, so I was playing, and I'm trying to unlock the adipose, whatever level he's on. And so I went through the thing, and I'm trying out a new team that does different stuff. I finally unlocked Amy and got a couple other characters. So I'm like, okay, cool, and I'm doing my stuff. And bing, pops up. The little box goes down the thing. I'm like, oh, yes, I got him. Sweet. So I got one more person to beat. I'm going through, and I do this
I know where this is
combo,
going.
and balls start disappearing, and things are happening. I look over, and it's like, why is my pink health bar all the way down?
Oh no!
I didn't look at it for just a second.
You didn't.
And then boom, we attacked, and I didn't get a single pink one in that whole chain combo, and it went boom and killed me, and all the balls went away, so I
I
died.
hate that. Oh.
So
That
then it
happened
came
several
up.
times
Yeah,
to me
that-
trying to get the
I think
adipose.
that always
So then
happened
it
to me
came up and
once,
said,
but-
"Do you want to spend one of your 40 time crystals to continue?" And I went,
have
"No."
40?
You haven't got him to drop again, have you?
No. Man. So yeah, I hit the wrong button.
Certainly, you're maxed out enough that you can just blow through everything now, right?
With my main
With
team,
one
yeah.
team, okay.
But I still have
Oh, yeah.
characters I haven't dropped.
Because I went back and played season 7 6 and 7.
I noticed that a
over the
lot of
course
characters
week.
were dropping a lot more with the epilogues.
It might
like-
be. I
like
think they
previous
kind of do
ones.
that so
Like-
because they got a set of new ones that are going to come out.
Well,
Wanna make
and
sure
a
people
lot
get
of
caught
the ones they added story to were ones that had characters
up.
available.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's
you're
where
right.
I was getting a lot of my characters dropped.
I think that's why I got Amy to drop.
that could be.
I think that's smart. I think they've loosened those characters up a little bit so
Yeah.
that they will drop, so that you don't feel uber behind by the time Series 5 comes out.
Yeah.
So
Did you see they asked, they sent a tweet out earlier today.
There's a Facebook post, too.
Is there a Facebook post? Okay. Thank you for letting me know. They want to know what
That's where I get my news from.
what classic episodes we want to see.
Oh.
So, tell them.
I'll be on there tonight. All right, well, let's move
Before
on.
we move on to news.
Oh, let's move on to whatever Keith's got.
Flicks with Friends.
Oh, yeah.
Flicks. There was a lot of interest after we finished Planet of the Apes last time that we will continue this month for March. This Thursday. That is
2 days from now.
2 days from now. 1 day from now. The 13th.
Thursday the 13th.
Way to give a warning.
I posted it on...
He asked the question over the weekend who wanted to do it and when, and so we all kind of chimed in. So everybody that
was available.
That replies to their tweets and texts.
He sees Doctor Who Legacies, but not mine.
I see where you rank.
Apparently.
Sadly, I see Doctor Who Legacy over yours too, Keith. But
I don't really tweet that much.
You don't. That's why I see Legacy.
You used to tweet a lot more. You've kind of given that up.
I don't know why I don't anymore.
I
guess I don't have as
many.
Because
you're playing Legacy in the bathroom now.
That's why you haven't picked up as many followers this week.
That's true. I don't have as many random thoughts in my head, I guess.
I used to tweet
ask you this question?
I asked earlier. I forgot to check, quite honestly.
I got a bunch of followers just recently on Twitter. So if it's because of this show, thanks for following me. And I try to follow you back, especially if you're a Whovian. And yeah, thanks for listening.
No, I'm still... Oh, wait, I just jumped up 1. I'm at 797 now.
Sean is now being followed by 2. I guess it'd be at least 4 because...
being followed by 2 when we started.
You pity follow, but...
Yeah, I had to beg Simon Fisher-Becker to follow me.
I'm up to 975. I don't know how many are
970. Oh, man.
Okay. Oh, I didn't get a new one.
Should I disappoint?
You're in the 4 digits, aren't you?
I am in the 4 digits. Let me see where I'm at.
Anyways, Flicks with Friends, 11:30 Central Daylight Time.
Sean, let it go.
On Thursday, March 13th. If you don't own this one, it is available streaming on Amazon Prime, in case you have Amazon Prime and want to join in. Of course, watch for the hashtags Beneath the Planet of the Apes. We might abbreviate it to Beneath POTA. That'd be a little less.
Beneath POTA. I like it.
Yeah.
I like
I think that. And I'm considering rebranding all of these as Apes with Friends.
Are you going through doing the entire series?
I think I want to do one movie a month. Because in July we can do Rise. Of course, we'll skip Tim Burton. We can do Rise in July and then go see the new film.
1,046 followers. That's how many I have.
When are we going to do Star Wars?
For anybody keeping score.
Ooh, that's...
Just me? Okay.
1,045.
Star Wars with Friends.
I heard. No, it's still got to be Flicks with Friends, but...
Oh, okay.
I like Apes with Friends. That's fun. Are you going to hashtag them both?
I probably will.
Flicks with Friends, Apes with Friends, Beneath POTA.
Yeah.
And then you'll get like 3 characters left. Just put something fun in there.
Ironically, I shortened Beneath the Planet of the Apes so I could fit more characters in, and then adding Apes with Friends would take it away. Probably not the best idea.
All right, now can we move on to news?
News!
So David Cameron sent out a tweet. Anybody see that? You didn't see... David Cameron is the current, whatever he is, Prime Minister of over in England.
Oh, him on the phone?
On the phone.
That's old, man.
I don't think I
followed
him.
No, it was like last week.
Was it last week?
Yeah.
No, I don't follow him either, but the reason it was funny is because everybody wondered, why would you take a selfie of yourself on the phone, supposedly discussing this Ukraine situation with the Russian tanks and everything that are invading that. And the selfie picture is like, I'm on the phone with President Obama now discussing this. So I forget his name, but there's a comedian who chimed in, and he's holding a tube of Crest toothpaste going, okay, I'm on the line, what's the stats? And he tweeted both of them back. This snowballed. Yeah. The next one that came out was Patrick Stewart.
Yeah. Oh, I saw Patrick Stewart's
wet naps
picture.
Going, all right, I'm on the line. And then Will Wheaton jumped in. And just, I mean, it's just boom, 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 all the way down the list. And Quick was telling me, he's like, dude, you got to get on this. Go find yourself. Go take a picture. I was like, I don't want to mess with it. He says, no, you got to go do it. So then there was this big article that this news station put together, one of the big ones. It wasn't CNN, but it was one of the main online print media.
So it was the
Huffington
big
Post. Maybe it was Huffington Post. And they had the tweet stream list, and Matt got on that. So he's like like there's Patrick Stewart and there's Will Wheaton, and then somebody holding a TARDIS up to their ear going, okay, I missed it. And then there's Quick's picture, and then someone's like, man, I should have got in on that. I could have been on the news. I just thought that was funny. And there was a TARDIS, so it was
I didn't realize
it was still news.
Matt was part of the chain now, so it is news. That is new. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Eli Who has announced some new guests.
Oh, we're doing news now?
We're doing news now.
That was news.
That was news.
And there was a
Different
TARDIS.
kind of news, but
No, there was a TARDIS in it. It was Doctor Who news. There was a guy with a TARDIS holding it up in that tweet stream, so it was news.
At the very least, Patrick Stewart gets honorable mention because it's sci-fi. So
And he's
Did Ian
awesome.
McKellen do it?
he's awesome.
Ian McKellen didn't do it.
Then that would have been a Who person.
Patrick Stewart's going to be at Planet Comic-Con, so
Yeah.
We'll see.
Will Wheaton did it. He's going to be at Planet Comic Con. So,
That's true.
and he's been on our show, kind of.
he has been on our show.
Yeah,
Kind of.
kind of.
Well, who's Eli?
Emma Campbell Jones is coming to Eli Who.
Woo!
Do you know who that is, Sean?
I do know that. She was at Galley.
Yes.
I got to see her with Paul McGann watching Night of the Doctor.
She was also in the episode of The Wedding of River Song.
She was. I don't
So-
remember who she played. I remember reading
Dr.
that.
Kent. I don't remember that character.
I don't remember that character at all.
But Cass from Night of the Doctor will be there. And then they're just rounding out the Eighth Doctor guests.
At the beginning and the end.
E.G. So is joining
E.G.
in a rare East Coast appearance. So that's some great announcements for Eli Who. I wish it weren't in November. I would really like to go to it.
You fly out to Long Island for a WhoCon?
It's not too far out from my sister, so...
Oh, I guess that's true. You've got a place to stay.
Well...
Or a reason to go visit your sister.
I'll go visit my sister, go to the con, come back and visit my sister, come back.
There you go.
Also in news, a 3-disc Region 1 Blu-ray release of An Adventure in Space and Time has been announced.
Yay!
Tuesday, May 27th.
Ah, so far away.
But it will include a bunch of bonus features, including a making of, the one that came out, that broadcast afterwards, I believe, William Hartnell, the original, that little featurette. Regeneration, Doctors 1, 2, and 3 recast. Reconstruction, 4 sequences, not sure what that is. Farewell, David Bradley. Christmas Greeting by David Bradley. And a deleted scene. It will also include... The third disc will be An Unearthly Child. All 4 episodes.
And
And the unaired pilot.
Ooh.
clever.
Yeah.
Especially
So
for
you get a
an
Blu-ray,
American release.
a DVD, and the DVD with An Earthly Child.
There's a good chance
It's
that
a Blu-ray DVD combo.
good chance that people that have never watched Doctor Who or haven't watched the classic series are more apt to pick it up if they know that they also get the
It's-
reference material on it as
Yeah,
well.
and it's a great way to somebody who's watched the new series and is interested in the creation of it, hand them the whole box set and just go, here you go, watch
Yeah.
this, and then watch the first stories.
That's genius.
And for those
Brilliant.
of us that are Who fans and already own An Unearthly Child, it's a genius way of getting us to fork over an extra $5.
So, while 2 Entertain and BBC Worldwide do some bonehead things like release a vanilla version of Web of Fear on DVD, at least they're making up for it somewhat in this.
I didn't tell you. So we recorded our show and talked about the link to the go pick your cover for the Adventure Space Time. And then we found out that it wasn't working. So we're like, oh, we missed it. And then the news came the next day about the Blu-ray coming
came
out.
out, yes.
And all of a sudden the link was working again. That you could go back and re-vote or go back and vote. So I went, all right, well, screw that. I'm gonna vote because I don't want to miss out. So I got on and did my little vote thing, and it came up with this whole, would you like to take a survey and fill us in on other? I'm like, yeah, absolutely, I'll do it because
And
I'm
you
a
got the
sucker for
discount?
online surveys. Yeah, to get a discount. which I probably won't use.
Because it's on the BBC shop and everything.
So
there.
they're going through and they're asking, how many DVDs do you buy? I was like, geez, really? You want to go there? Okay, big number. There's not enough fields here for me to fill that in. And so I went through the thing, and then it had a spot for comments. Is there anything that you would like, BBC to entertain, anything you want to let us know? I typed like 4 paragraphs. Please don't change the cover art. And we want to make sure that the new releases match up with the stuff that's come before when it comes to things like Enemy of the World and Web of Fear when these come out. Make sure they stay with the... I gave it to him. I gave him a whole...
And then
please don't change this because it'll drive me nuts.
Shortly after also we recorded, they released the package art for Enemy of the World.
Oh, did they?
And the spine is the same, which we covered that for
Web of Fear.
the Web of Fear. So the spine is at least the same.
Once I saw the Web of Fear's spine was
We
the
knew it
same,
was gonna be,
I was actually that relieved. I was not concerned anymore over
See,
it.
It's still a bit
Enemy of the World.
different.
Well, I don't mind, honestly, the fun font for the title. I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
As long as the spine is the same, I think it's...
I'm the same way. The font on the front of it doesn't bother me at all. And the artwork is still in the same vein. Although there's been
a wide range of artwork.
Yeah,
it seems like every year.
I also like that the artwork now tends to spread all the way out instead of being cut off with the black on the top part.
Yeah,
that's true.
It's a pretty cover too.
Although
it's
if you
orange.
look at something like Genesis of the Daleks,
was it all that way too?
The way up, yeah. But
they went
a
away
very
from it. Now
rudimentary artwork.
Well, even this still going all the way up. It's just a star field, but it's still a continuation of the picture.
No, and obviously props to continuing to do cool artwork versus the let's take a video frame capture image and throw it up there like the VHS cassettes used to be with here's Tom
or
Baker
Genesis of the Dalek.
holding on to the clay skull
That's what Genesis
from Morbius.
Dalek is it's a side shot of him getting ready to put the wires together. And
and then Davros in the little circle.
It's like one of the best Doctor Who stories ever and one of the lamest covers.
Yeah. So, but
the price point for Adventure in Space and Time is $25 SRP.
Really?
For the 3 discs.
How much?
$25
for a 3-disc set that includes the Blu-ray, the DVD, and...
I'm assuming, they don't say for sure, but I'm assuming the DVD, that's Unearthly Child, is just the disc out of the beginning set.
I would bet, yeah.
So it would even have bonus features there, too. In theory.
That's a deal and a half.
I bet not.
You don't think so?
Why would you repress a vanilla disc?
Yeah. When you already have some in print, you could just grab it out of others.
Yeah, I don't know.
The thing that makes me think that is the fact that the 40-minute pilot episode is on there, too.
Right, but I mean, they're all part of one chunk there. Maybe. I have a hard time believing that they would do that, but maybe.
It's possible. They haven't released bonus features other than what I mentioned, so they sometimes add extra ones later on.
I'll probably eat my words about that. I'm going to eat my words about something later, so... All right, what's next?
The BBC 3 is set to stop transmission.
That's your problem. You should say just BBC 3.
BBC 3.
The BBC is...
BBC 1,
BBC 3.
BBC 2, BBC 3, BBC... Sorry.
Is going to stop transmitting and become an online-only channel. So that means those in the UK might not get their Doctor Who repeats.
Boo!
There was also the channel behind Doctor Who Confidential, and Torchwood debuted on that channel.
Yeah, because only 1% of
Ultimate
the UK
Guide was on that
is
channel.
Online, so yeah, they'll get their repeats. They'll send them there, and that's where people look.
I would just like to point out you canceled Doctor Who Confidential, and now your network's going away.
It's been going since only 2003. And it's estimated that it will save £50 million a year and put £30 million back in BBC One drama. So that means
more Doctor Who.
It could mean more Doctor Who or better production quality on Doctor Who. I don't necessarily mean it will mean more.
I don't know how you can get any better.
Well, if you canceled an entire network to give me a season of Paul McGann, I'm okay with it. That's a good reason to do it. Speaking of, did you see the picture he tweeted?
Actually,
which I don't think was on Facebook until I posted it.
No, I saw it on Facebook before that. But that was because of Doctor Who TV.
Here's what's more likely. If you save $50 million, pounds?
£50 million a year.
A year. You can sink some of that into production, and you're saving that on your transmission, but you're still going to have an online network. You could put that into a online web series of Paul McGann, which I think is more likely to be sold to the BBC as opposed to something on one of the main channels.
I'm okay with it. I don't care how they get it to me, as long as they get it to me.
According to this article, the BBC needs to save about £100 million after the license fee was frozen in 2010 and cutting 15% of the budget. So this is a way of getting some of that back.
Oh, so they're already
so it's not
in the hole.
necessarily, It's not
bother.
getting surplus, it's replacing.
Yeah.
Oh, bother.
Well, you never know.
Doctor Who's going to wind up with pledge drives again.
Did you see?
If you enjoy programs like this on BBC, please donate.
I didn't realize that the Demons predicted the BBC.
Almost said.
I almost said Demons. It predicted the Demons, or the Demons predicted it with the Devil's Hunt being broadcast on BBC Three. So when that broadcast, this hadn't happened. It hadn't existed yet. BBC Three came around because of Doctor Who.
Yeah.
And it went off because they got rid of Doctor Who.
Well, Doctor Who Confidential.
Yeah.
What else is coming out of the BBC?
BBC Two and BBC America are doing a 4-part documentary series.
Not canceled.
Not canceled. News show.
Well, BBC America, they get money from advertisers. They got bukus of money.
The real history of science fiction.
The real history
Yes.
of science fiction.
We'll cover programs from Star Wars to 2001: A Space Odyssey, from Jurassic Park to Doctor Who. It's narrated by Mark Gatiss and will feature a number of sci-fi guests, including Shatner, Nathan Fillion, Stephen Moffat. There was another Who, David Tennant, Karen Gillian, and Neil Gaiman.
I suddenly have a problem with this. Is it real as in R-E-E-L?
R-E-A-L.
They missed the boat there. 'Cause it sounds well.
That's the problem.
It sounds like in visual medium because science fiction's been around
Well,
for hundreds of years.
we don't know how
in
much.
print.
We don't know if it's talking about 2001: Space Odyssey, the book, or Jurassic Park, the book first. They were book first.
They were book first. But if you're going to do the history of science fiction, you got to delve into things that are...
They're breaking up into 4 episodes.
Okay, well, right there, you don't have enough time.
Episode 1 is all about robots.
So
it's concepts. Okay.
They'll tackle some of the Isimo stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Episode 2 is space. Episode 3 is invasion, aliens landing on Earth.
Okay.
And episode 4 is time, which will be probably the very Doctor Who heavy one.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
So look for that. That
Cool.
should be coming.
Exciting stuff.
Saturday, April 19th on BBC America. BBC Two has not said when it's going to broadcast.
The real history of science fiction.
Yes.
Cool.
It's got a lot of big names in here. Christopher Lloyd, Rutger Hauer, Peter Weller.
Rutger Hauer, he's a household name now.
He was in
Tried to
Batman
make him
Begins.
come back.
He was in what?
He was in Batman Begins.
Yeah, he was.
Kenny
There was
Baker?
A lot of people in Batman Begins.
Kenny Baker. Oh, Kenny Baker.
Do you recognize Joffrey from Batman Begins?
Joffrey?
And Game of Thrones was in Batman Begins.
Oh, yeah. I did know that, yeah.
Chris Carter, Ronald D. Moore,
Joffrey.
Yeah, Chris Carter's not doing anything now.
I love that you
Richard
call him
Dreyfuss?
Joffrey.
Joffrey,
He's Joffrey.
Zoe Saldana too.
I love Zoe Saldana.
Maybe she'll talk about Guardians of the Galaxy.
Sean's got some news to bring to the table.
Speaking of broadcasting things.
Speaking of broadcasting and pledge drives, congratulations go out to the Whovians of Wichita, who managed to fulfill their goal and got classic Doctor Who returned to KPTS, which is their local public television station. Apparently 20 years since it had last aired on the channel. A lot of hard work, but they did a pledge drive, and they managed to raise enough money to get the 3 Doctors. And
Go ahead.
Apparently, not only did they get enough to get the 3 Doctors purchased to air on the show or on the station, they wound up with enough money almost to do all of Tom Baker's first season. So they're held a pledge drive, and they're trying to get more people to donate, so they continue to run them. And they're running them. I think it's weekly. I think it's Friday nights again. Maybe it's Thursday nights. I don't have the actual schedule. I'm copying this off. But our compliments to Sean Bourne and his group down there who put that together.
I'm going to take credit for this.
Because you said it wouldn't happen?
I said I didn't think it had happened, and it spurred them, it challenged them, and they had more drive and determination to prove me wrong. And so now they have Doctor Who, classic Doctor Who on PBS because of me. You're welcome. I did say I couldn't see it happening, but I am more than happy for them that they got it. That's awesome.
It's really awesome. Makes me wish we got that station up here.
Yeah,
for the same reason that we do.
That's the PBS station I grew up with.
For the same reason that we do Friday Night Who at midnight is that kind of nostalgic, old school feel. Just Doctor Who should be on public television. It's supposed to be there. I have one other thing that I just found, if it's all right. Sylvester McCoy apparently let slip at a recent convention that he knows who will be the new Master in Series 8, and that he will be, quote, very scary.
It's Sylvester McCoy.
That would be kind of cool. There's been apparently a lot of rumors that Richard Armitage, the guy from The Hobbit.
Really?
Who's Sylvester's...
Last I heard was Charles Dance.
Did you just spoil it for us?
I don't think so. Well, if he shows up, then you'll know it's a spoiler. There's been a lot of rumor that he might take over the role. I think just because he's got a beard, everybody's going, "Oh, he could be the Master." But
see, I had heard speculation that it was Charles Dance.
Yeah, but if Sylvester knows, and he works with the guy.
Okay.
I mean,
I can see why that would start now.
He has flown around the world to New Zealand several times now to work with the guy. So
it's not really around the world for him.
It is
down a couple of continents.
Around the world.
That's not around the world.
That is around the world. From England?
New Zealand
is New Zealand is almost exactly the opposite side of the globe from England.
The hemispheres? You're talking about north and
Both.
south. No, it's not. England. New Zealand.
Other side of Africa and Australia. And Asia.
Yes, but Europe is right above Africa, so...
Okay,
so it's not even halfway across the globe.
Yes,
it's like flying from here to Brazil.
You're confusing it with Madagascar.
No, it's like flying from here to Brazil.
Here, I'll draw you a map. Here's England. Okay, this is that thing we're going to do where we talk about
going to Mdaba.
You can't go to Mdaba, Keith.
Maptaba.
England's here. Okay. Europe's here, right? Africa's down here.
Yeah.
Madagascar's a tiny little island out
there.
here.
See, but what you're doing is you're putting Europe way out here.
No,
over Africa.
This dot is England.
Yeah.
That's Europe. Okay. Yeah. Russia.
Yeah.
Because you got to go all the way across Asia. Australia.
Over and down.
Look how far away that is.
It is
equal distance.
Crossed. It's closer.
All right, I'll give you that.
It's further away.
Here's
from
the other
than
thing:
us.
is that map is flattened out, so it's not that far. You guys are looking at.
Well, yeah.
If it was a globe, it would be almost equal distance apart.
But it's not. It's not around the world.
You're going half. What did I say? I said halfway around the world.
He's flown around the world twice. You said
yes,
or several times.
No, he said if he floated halfway around the world twice.
Several times because he keeps flying back and forth.
He's flying down though, so he's not even going halfway. He's not even going halfway around.
Glenn, it's a globe. If you fly down, it's still half. If you go from North Pole to South Pole, it's still half.
For the record, it is.
It's not 11,000
miles,
and the Earth is 24,000 miles around.
11,617.
That's almost.
It's
halfway.
Not like flying from here to
New Zealand.
Australia or here to New Zealand.
I can't work with this guy anymore.
All right, he's flown halfway around the world several times.
So he knows who the guy is.
It's only 7,000 miles from U.S. to New Zealand. And that looks like it's like the middle of the U.S.
It is closer.
Because it's on the other side of Australia.
Yeah.
It's not on the Africa side of Australia.
To
New Zealand.
To New Zealand.
In relation to the UK.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. It's on
in relation to us, it's on our side.
Yeah, yeah.
Why are we having a geography? We know we're not good at this.
Hey, you were right about this one.
I was right about this one.
You were right about this.
Turlo talked about it last
It's not
year.
halfway, though. Not quite halfway.
It's nearly halfway.
It's nearly halfway.
Okay. Anyway.
I didn't realize it was... I learned today, I didn't realize it was a further flight or further distance than from here to Australia, which is a mammoth flight. So,
Yeah.
wow, good for him. Might be better off flying over the top of the world than down around the other side.
Because Mark Strickson
I don't think so.
Mark Strickson talked about this last year at Galley because he does a lot of stuff in New Zealand for his film crew, and I think he lives there part-time. But when, because he had left to go to England for something and then left England to go to L.A. for the con, and he joked that
There's flying around
he
the
said
world.
it's at this point, now that I'm in L.A., it's easier for me to continue on around the globe to go home than it is, you know, so.
Yeah, because you'd go from L.A. across the U.S. and fly home. Wow. That's a lot of travel.
A lot of frequent flyer miles.
You might catch yourself coming and going that way.
And I thought my dad's 11-hour flight was not bad.
11 hours is bad, though.
Your dad's 11-hour flight to Thailand
Well,
puts him closer to New Zealand.
That was to China,
much closer.
and then they had
I agree with that.
12-hour layover, and then they had a couple more hours just to get to Thailand from China.
They had a 12-hour layover?
Yeah, in China, and they couldn't leave the airport because they couldn't get like visas or something. And they wanted to go see the Great Wall, but they couldn't get day visas for whatever reason. They wouldn't let them do it.
Communism.
Yeah.
You laugh, and it's probably true.
No, that one I'll give you. You are a grade A correct there, my friend. The communism, that's the reason.
All right, let's move on to feedback.
Feedback. First up, Brenda. She writes, Celebrity Encounters. Dear Vortex Gang, it has been quite a while since I checked in with you guys because I have had nothing of interest to contribute to your discussions. But I do eagerly listen to each podcast as soon as it's posted. And that's quite a compliment since I often know little to nothing about what you're discussing. I still find
Neither do we, Brenda.
Yet I still find it all fun and interesting, so you're obviously doing a great job engaging your fans. I've been really busy for the past several months, but I need to give some background to fill you in on my activities. When I was laid off from my stressful corporate America job a year ago, I was devastated and immediately started looking for another full-time job. But as the months stretched on and I was no closer to full employment, I decided to expand what I was already doing on the side and make it more full-time. I have begun several Mommy and Me music classes for babies and toddlers. I do music activities in Mother's Morning Out programs. I started early childhood music programs for children ages 3 to 5. I direct a choir for children in grades K through 2 and assist with our church choir for children in grades 3 through 12. I've also taken on several piano and voice students and have begun doing music activities for birthday parties. All of these musical jobs are so rewarding and fun, and every day I get an abundance of sweet hugs and kisses from precious children. I also sing professionally in 2 choirs, both of which recently recorded CDs. As you might imagine, these many jobs make my schedule quite complicated, and there are often holes in that schedule. On any given day, I might have music classes for babies in the morning, piano lessons in the afternoons, and rehearsals or concerts at nights, but with gaps of several hours in between activities. So about 4 months ago, I looked for a part-time job with flexible hours and found the wonderful opportunity. There's a rideshare community called Lyft, pronounced like Lyft but spelled with a Y, and began operating in Atlanta last fall. People download a smartphone app and register credit card information. Then if they need a ride anywhere, they request a Lyft on the app, and the closest Lyft driver on duty receives a notification to pick them up. What a fun community. We are a fun community, and each driver is encouraged to make their rides unique and fun. We all have giant fuzzy pink mustaches that we put on the grill of our cars to help passengers recognize us when we arrive at their pickup location. And many drivers have themes in their cars, provided snacks, and interact with passengers like they're our friends. I've had such fun with this job, regularly meeting really interesting and cool people. For my unique ride, I decided to make my own little Who-mobile. I have a TARDIS and canine bobbleheads mounted on my dash, as well as a little Dalek flashlight and a couple of sonic screwdrivers. When passengers recognize the Who theme, we have great conversations. If they ask what the items represent, it gives me a chance to talk up the show and encourage new fans. I have attached a photo of my Who dashboard for your enjoyment.
Cool.
That's very cool, Brenda.
And we will, of course, post these.
Yes. She continues.
Keith actually went down, looked at the photo, and
Get back up. I really enjoyed the Gallery 1 reports and your discussions about the current situation with photos and autographs at conventions brought to mind my own celebrity encounters. I've never attended a con, but I do frequently wait at stage doors after seeing Broadway and other theater shows, so I've had some fun encounters there. I saw Brent Spiner in Big River around 1985, and about 10 to 15 years later I saw him as John Adams in 1776.
Oh, that would have been good.
Both were singing roles, and he is really quite good on the stage. I met many of the cast of Next Gen when they came to Atlanta in the play Every Good Boy Deserves Favor. But I was so starstruck I forgot to use my camera. That play featured Patrick Stewart, Jonathan Frakes, Gates McFadden, Brent Spiner, and Cole Meany. I've also met Hugh Jackman, Chris Noth, Charles Durning, Rue McCallaghan, Leslie Jordan, Mary Lou Henner, Michael Learned, Jonathan Price, and lots of others who are known in the theater world, though not so much on screen.
I beg to differ. I know all those people from movies or TV shows. You've got half the cast of Evening Shade there.
I think she's saying there are even more people than she mentioned that might not be as well known.
Oh, all right. Jonathan Pryce is a proper movie star.
He is.
And the master. That's who's going to play him next.
Oh. I would love that. I met George Takei when he came out to Columbia, South Carolina, where I was living at the time, shortly after the first Star Trek movie came out. But my favorite encounters are the several times I met Ewan McGregor. First, when he was filming Big Fish in Alabama. Later, at a charity event in London. And again, when he performed Guys and Dolls in the West End. There's a very long story there, but I'll save it for another time when I'm not running into a deadline as you start to record this week's show. I've attached some of those photos for your enjoyment. Which, Brenda, I will make a post on the website, much like I did for Daryl, and upload all of your pictures of celebrity encounters on our website and create a Facebook
She says I've attached for your enjoyment. Hopefully she doesn't mind us sharing.
Assuming you allow us. I'll wait till I get your word. I hope everyone has a great week after our 2 forays in the frozen tundra territory and 2 snowstorms that kept us housebound until it either melted or the salt and sand did their work. I'm happy to be experiencing 70-degree days and the beginnings of spring. I suspect this news will annoy those of you who are still stuck in winter, but I consider this penance for everyone who laughed at us when we had no equipment to deal with the snows and they shut down the city. How would you all like to visit Atlanta now? You're all very welcome here. Brenda in Atlanta.
Well, Brenda, we had 75-degree weather yesterday, 70-degree weather this morning, and we're supposed to get snow tonight.
So. And it's currently dropped down to 40 degrees.
Oh, gosh. Although it's not supposed to drop very much lower. So
welcome to Kansas.
Very cool, Brenda. And there's some great photos here, and Keith will have those on the website pending notification from you. Britt Spiner looks drunk. It's just an unfortunate, picture when it was snapped. He's kind of got
a surprise photo.
His eyes halfway closed, but
he was blinking.
Charles Durning looks cold.
So does Hugh Jackman.
Well, they're in Atlanta.
Yeah, but Charles Durning has got his head down. So
yeah,
I think that's Charles Durning.
Yeah, it is.
Those are great. All right, very good. Thank you very much. All right, next up is
Chrissy.
Oh, she changed her thing.
She changed her thing.
It's from a different...
From a different what?
Different email address. Sorry, I didn't recognize it.
Oh, mine just says Chrissy.
So does mine.
Mine doesn't. Those are photos.
Maybe that's why.
I don't have one.
Oh, you're looking at blue skies. That's Daryl.
Oh, there's Chrissy. Okay.
Just another week in the Vortex.
Just another week in the Vortex. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Don't do that to me, Chrissy.
That wasn't Chrissy.
Well, I can hardly be blamed if she changes her email address.
She didn't.
That
Her
was
email
Daryl.
address is the same.
Well, then she shouldn't be confusing me with Daryl.
She didn't confuse you with Daryl.
Yes, she did.
No.
She made me confused.
She
thought she was
She made you
Daryl.
confused,
She
yes.
didn't confuse you with Daryl, though. That would imply she thought you were Daryl.
I think you're not putting the right emphasis on the syllable. Dear Vortex Boys, before I forget, a huge, it's all capital letters, I'm not making that up, thank you to Sean and Mel for procuring Colin Baker's autograph at Galley for me, and the envelope art was fantastic. Someone, I'm guessing it was Sean, drew the TARDIS spinning in the vortex on the envelope with the caption, "From Gallifrey with Love." And I enjoyed the Galley recap as well. I don't think I've laughed so hard in my life. Well, maybe I have, but not in recent memory. Were we particularly funny that week? I haven't gone back to listen to the show, but lots of people have commented that.
I think it was Holly last week said
Yeah.
we were really funny.
Okay. Anyway, I hope Daylight Savings Time finds
Sorry
you
to
well.
disappoint you this week
Okay, Daylight Savings. We are,
in daylight savings time.
so right now, it's DST.
No, it's
CDT.
CDT. Yeah, Central Daylight Time. Daylight Savings Time is the name for
Is
the entire
just-
thing. We are in Central Daylight Time now. We just got out of
Central Standard Time.
Central Standard Time. Yeah.
Why isn't it Daylight Time in the winter? Because that's what you're doing, is you're trying to save daylight. So why isn't it...
No. You're saving daylight. Well, ultimately, when it came around, they were trying to save daylight in the evening for farmers so that they had more time to be in their fields in the evening, in harvest time especially. So that's why it
Over
happened
the summer.
in summer. Yeah. Now, we hold on to this rudimentary style of saving time because for energy costs, or for energy reasons is why they say, because in the summer you use less energy when there's more light. So in order to save some of that energy, that's why we continue to utilize the daylight savings time.
But it's still...
and that's the reason why Congress
it's still thought of as
you're still saving.
daylight savings during the summer, even though we're not.
Well,
We are.
we're shifting
We
it
are
so we have
saving-
more
well,
daylight.
we're saving
But that's the way it
daylight.
should be anyway.
It's,
I mean,
we're not storing the daylight somewhere. If
No,
that's
but
the
what
way
I-
you're looking
no,
at it.
but what I'm
We're
saying is-
saving
I'd like to try to do
daylight
that.
for the farmers,
the
for
abbreviations.
more time.
The abbreviations are Central Daylight Time and Central Standard Time.
Standard,
but we use
right.
daylight time over the summer months
Yes.
and standard time over the winter months.
Correct.
Because we're saving time in the summer. We're saving daylight in the
Because
summer.
it's daylight savings time. So
Bottom
we-
line, folks,
daylight
if you
time.
see a tweet about Friday Night Who and it's wrong, it came from me. Ignore
Although
it.
earlier I tweeted one about Flicks with Friends and did CST out of habit.
It's at
you know,
midnight.
I know what it is.
Figure it out.
I know what it is. You think CST should be Central Summertime. That's where you're confused.
or Central Savings Time?
Central Savings. Time.
Sure.
That's what it
Central.
Yeah,
I know it's
Central
Central
Savings
I know
Time,
it's
yeah.
Central Standard Time, but that's summer. That's the way it should be. That's the way it is. We set the clocks.
No. Standard is what the rest of the world is, and that's what it is. Standard
make
is,
Sean's
standard
head
is because
explode.
that's the standard 24 hours. That's what was invented back so many years ago when they decided to start, when they invented clocks, decided to put everybody on a 12 or 24 hour.
So when right
Clock
now
schedule.
in the summer in the U.S., we're off the rest of the world.
Correct.
Yes.
Actually, now, because Congress has extended it so much,
Well, it's
we're off the rest of the world the majority of the year because it now starts in March and it doesn't end until October. So
November,
no, that's right. It is November.
February to
Yeah.
November now,
So
or March to November.
we only have 2 or 3 months that we're in standard time, that we're synced up with the rest of the world.
All right, the rest of
It's-
you
I
out
think
there
it's-
are wrong.
I think it's
and you need
absolutely-
to come join us in the light.
I think it's absolutely ridiculous that we still hold on to this thing. And I wish somebody could explain to me how the energy savings justify spreading it out further. Because when you
It doesn't
adjust
make
your clock, it
sense.
doesn't make any sense because you're losing that time in the morning. So you're not really saving anything. You're going to lose that much time. You're going to
I
use
think
more.
the idea is people are home more in the evenings where
Right.
it will stay light longer, where they might not need to turn their lights on in their house.
Right.
Now, granted, turning lights on compared to like running the AC or the heater is nothing in energy.
Well, that's true. It's such a small drop in the hat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Any bit helps. Don't get me wrong.
It's all
Yeah.
based on because all the businesses set their exterior awning lights to kick on at certain times, and if it gets dark earlier, your lights are going on earlier.
Yeah, but they're going off earlier in the morning.
Yeah, nobody looks at it that
but
way.
Nobody's up, and not as many people are up at that time. That's the
No.
thing.
I'm going to argue this point because
I'm not saying it's right.
No. I'm going to argue that point because that doesn't make any sense. Because if they're on a timer and they're not actually flipping a switch themselves, no. Listen, in the morning when it's light longer, they're going to shut off earlier. So it doesn't make any. It doesn't make any difference
for the business aspect. Yes, on the outside lights, inside
Yes.
lights at businesses though, they're not on a timer. They're when
I see
people
what you're
leave
saying.
and turn off the lights.
Okay. I can
Granted,
see
they
it
need
there.
they
I
need
can
the
kinda
lights
see it.
on anyways because they can't. It's
But
a business. They won't be able to
awnings
turn
and
the
awnings and street lights and
awnings
things like
and
that.
streetlights.
Yeah.
We never bothered adjusting the other arm on our. Every place I've ever worked, we always set the one to go off earlier and never changed the other one. We never even bothered with it.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Sorry. I'm sorry, Chrissy. We'll get back to your email in a minute.
The arm.
There's a timer wheel, and there's a little doodad that sticks out here, and you've got your little arms that stick out that say, this is what time I want it to come on, and this is what time I want it to go off.
okay.
So that when it clicks around, well, you change this one because you want it to go on earlier. This one never, ever, ever changed.
So it still goes off
still
at the
going off
same-
at the same time.
Well,
from
and the adjusted time.
not because of a cost-cutting measure on our part, but just because we're not screwing with it. It's screwed in. It's a
Choose the
pain to
one.
pull off and readjust. And they frequently, if you unscrewed one part of that thing, the entire assembly would fall off the wall. Literally, everywhere I've worked, it's the worst designed mechanical contraption I've ever seen. Is the stupid
I've never
timer.
worked
I've
anywhere
never
where
had
there's
to
been a
deal with that
timer.
either.
Oh, it's a tiny little like
And
jeweler
that's for,
screw that
that's
holds
for,
this
like,
thing
the
together.
parking lot lights and whatnot? Huh.
And it was that way at Blockbuster, it was that way at Hollywood. It's a standard, you work in retail, you get one of these. And it's like, I don't want it. But they give it to you. And, it's horrible. So I just, at any rate, if you see a tweet and it's wrong, you know it came from me, and just figure it out on your own. It's midnight here. Okay. That's where I'm going with that. Sorry, Chrissy, we hijacked that from you. Anyway, I hope daylight savings time finds you well, or at least on time. So from now on, you guys can start saying Central Daylight Time. I see, I should have just listened to Chrissy. But she doesn't know what email she's sending from, so I don't know. On the subject of Lego and Doctor Who, I know what Sean was going for. See, she is so simpatico with me. Why? Chrissy, you should just come replace Glenn on the podcast.
She likes you better than me.
Well, there's that. You made fun of her doctor.
Yeah. I'm still paying for that, I guess.
You're still bruised on the one arm. He's talking about people who are going to drop a ton of money in order to collect niche items in the geeky realm. This more or less started with Star Wars Lego, and it's just blossomed outward with properties like Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings and Marvel and Batman. Personally, I love Lego. I have since I was a kid. And when I got the Lego Star Wars video game, I played the crap out of that thing. I haven't played it in a long time because, well, I don't have a gaming console of my own. All the video games I played as a kid are at my parents' house, and I'd have to contend with my siblings coming over who actually owns it. I don't have a whole lot of time to play video games anyway. It's the same as with collecting action figures, whether it's Doctor Who figures or Marvel characters or anything else. There's even a contingent of adults who collect Barbie dolls. My point, and this may be Sean's point as well, is that Lego falls into the category of toys that adults collect as well as being toys that kids play with. And what kind of adults collect toys? For lack of a better term, geeks do.
Was that the point you're trying to make?
Sure, I'll go with that.
Well, but had you said toy fans are Doctor Who fans, I probably would have been more inclined. But you were singling out Lego. And what that tells me is that if I'm a geek, I'm obviously going to collect Lego. My point was...
What it tells you is Chrissy is
My
better
point
spoken.
was that Doctor Who fans will collect Lego if it's part of their niche, meaning if there's Doctor Who Legos. Same thing with Star Wars fans. If you're a Star Wars fan, you're going to collect, you're more likely to collect Star Wars Legos. You can't say a blanket statement like Lego fans are also Doctor Who fans.
I
or
didn't
vice
say
versa.
that,
You
though.
did.
No, I didn't.
listened back.
No,
and you
I
did
didn't.
say that.
I said I think there's a majority of people that would fit into both camps that would tend
trying
to
to do the
collect
Venn
this.
diagram.
I'm trying to do the Venn diagram. I will post a Venn diagram and make a visual
No,
for
wait.
you.
I think you got there eventually in your conversation, but that's not how you framed it.
Well,
I went back and listened again to make sure. Yeah,
you know my way my brain works. I always
so that's
I always
what
start
I was
with a half-formed idea and then have to get down to it.
That's what I was taking a stance on, was the fact that the way you had originally framed it, I couldn't wrap my brain around that.
You're trying to paint me into one of those algebra corners.
It wasn't until
all elephants are pink.
It wasn't
Dumbo is an elephant. Dumbo must be pink.
It wasn't until Keith, who apparently was on the same level as you, brought up the Venn diagram, and then that's when I kind of realized where you were going.
Okay,
but I hear you.
That happens a lot.
And Chrissy, who apparently also interpreted it that way, is arguing in favor because of that. But that's not how you initially framed it. So that's why the defenses automatically shot up.
Here's a visual for you. All of my arguments start like a gargantuan giant block of marble, and you kind of have to chip away to find the Statue of David somewhere in there.
You know I don't function that way, so you got to have to approach it better.
Who fans like Lego? Anyway. I actually had a similar conversation with some people at my new second job, trying to convince them that geeks are worth marketing to because they'll drop tons of money on something they can use in cosplay. They probably think I'm nuts, but that's another story for later. Yeah, I'd buy that. But now, see, Glenn's going to be arguing because he's going to say not all geeks are cosplayers. So, yeah.
Well, I think that's certainly true, too.
I think it is a smaller majority or minority of cosplayers out there,
but
compared to
I think it's growing.
Overall,
I think it's growing. And if there was something that was A, affordable, and B, accurate, wouldn't you be more inclined to do it?
Huh?
Wouldn't you be more inclined to cosplay if you could find something that was readily available and easy to put together, and you could do it? Wouldn't
me personally, no,
wouldn't you be more inclined to do it?
No. But in generality, yes. But me, no. I'm not. I don't dress up. I'm not a fan of dress up.
He doesn't like to dress up at Halloween.
Yeah, it's true.
It's true. Okay.
Me personally,
I've
no.
only seen you dressed up. Actually, I think I can count on one hand.
Let me crawl into your brain here, because I am agreeing with the
scary place. Don't stay long.
I agree with the sentiment that the majority of people, if it were available, they would be more likely to do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Who was it that talked about Goodreads and book clubs? Personally, I adore Goodreads. I use it all the time. I used to be a little self-conscious about the stuff I read, but now that I'm Goodreads and I can see what my friends have read, I don't feel so bashful about my reading habits. Now that I'm Goodreads and I can
I think she meant on.
She just left on.
Now that I'm Goodreads. Okay.
Plus, Chrissy should start the book club then. She's already Goodreads.
And she's a librarian. Can't get any more official than that. Plus, it's a great way to find out if a book is something I'll want to read, or if I want to recommend it to someone. Those user reviews are really great. If nothing else, it's the best place I found for finding out details about different book series, how many books are in a series, what order to read them in, release dates, etc. As far as book clubs go, I've been on a few book club groups for work, but we take a few months to focus on one specific genre and discuss the different subgenres. This quarter, we're talking romance, which is actually pretty interesting, surprisingly enough. Or maybe it's just interesting to librarians. I rarely have much to contribute to these discussions since I'm never really sure what to say, but I wouldn't be opposed to a Traveling the Vortex book club. I mean, you guys review books on the podcast every once in a while, but I've noticed that those episodes tend not to have so much feedback reviews, and I can see why. It takes a long time to read a book and an even longer time to get all your thoughts garnered in order to discuss it. Maybe we could set it up where we make up a list of books you guys have already read for the podcast, and we discuss one over the course of a month or two. I know there are books you guys have talked about that I want to read, but I haven't made the time to do it. Just something to think about, and I would be happy to spearhead it if you'd like. I just have to figure out how Goodreads group moderation works. Shouldn't be too hard.
I know Brittany's on board.
Let me know what you guys want to do, and if any listeners are interested in doing such a thing, hit me up on Twitter at @wildcat_media and let me know. It's not like I have anything else to do. Yeah, there's a little smiley face there because she's lying. But she would do it for us.
It's yours, Chrissy.
If you volunteer, let's have an official vote.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Vote carries.
Ayes have it.
3-0. Yeah, if you volunteer to do something for us, we're probably going to give it to you. Ask Michelle, who is facilitating our Tumblr page. Thank
And
you
Michelle,
again,
I haven't forgotten about you. I don't know if you've been following my Facebook page. Day 2 of Galley is now posted on the photos, so I am working on it. It's just
We got these quicker than we got Hawaii pictures.
Yeah, because I was thinking of you.
Thank you.
Speaking of Goodreads and reviews, here are mine for the week. See how I did that? The Sandman. This story reminded me a lot of A Good Man Goes to War, where the Doctor is seen as a villain, and the word Doctor means great warrior, instead of being associated with a person who fixes things and heals people. The Doctor became a monster to the Galliari, and he actually played that part up as long as he could. Too bad 60 is kind of a teddy bear at this point, and his ruse didn't last very long. Mostly because Evelyn's not buying it at all, and I think it's hilarious that she doesn't. Also, I want to see a picture of a Galliari. Maybe Glenn wouldn't like a bird-reptile anthropomorphized hybrid alien thing. Still, it sounds interesting. And Nintaru?
Yes.
Reminded me of Alpha Centauri from The Curse of Peladon.
Yeah,
it's something in the voice, I guess.
Yeah.
I didn't think that.
Me
but
3.
Let me stop you right there. Oh, gotta get back on this anthropomorphized things. Don't misunderstand me. If you're going to take and you start to kind of blend animals together, at least you're being creative and trying to do something new. It's when you got rhinos just walking around.
See, I got the impression they were walking around chameleons.
I thought it's the last week, and when he brought up, we were talking about the Acrons, and he said, "Did you have a problem with the fact?"
I said that. Yeah,
they were
the tentacles and fish and
octopuses or squids or whatever, and that goes to that as well. Is if it's described by using or even shown to me by using things that I maybe already relate to, you get A for effort, for trying, for doing something different. It's when it's clearly a rhinoceros running around on 2 legs, and you used no thought or any sort of creativity there. That's what bothers me.
Okay.
That's what I have a problem with. So, there you go. I would love to see half, what would she say? Bird/reptile anthropomorphized hybrid alien thing. I would be fine with that. At least
so
there'd be
kind
some
of like a
creativity
raptor from Jurassic Park 3, but more humanized. Those were kind of birdish.
They had the feathers,
more bird-like.
the feather ridges. You didn't see the hand motion I just did, but
I don't want to see the raptors from Jurassic Park 3 as the.
Well, that's what she just. That's what I imagine.
At least they can't open doors. Bang, bang, a boom. Maybe this is because I've been marathoning episodes of Castle lately, but this story felt a lot like a screwball murder mystery. It's a fun story, if a little weird. That whole thing with the Doctor and the Queen. Yeah. But it was enjoyable. Yep, that's all I've got on it. This one didn't make that much of an impression on me, but I still had fun listening to it. That's all I've got for this week. Sorry it was so long, but I had a lot to talk to you guys about. And if Glenn ended up reading this one, I apologize profusely. Unless he was being a buzzkill again. Then I'm not the least bit sorry. Chrissy. P.S. Don't ask me how I discovered this, because I don't remember, but I found out that the Big Finish audios are listed on Goodreads as books. They're probably considered audiobooks, but still. And here's a link. So now I wonder if I could count those toward my Goodreads challenge for the year.
Ironically,
only if you do it in the year.
Ironically, Chrissy, I stumbled across that myself recently, and I thought, I'm going to get through my $30 now. Very good. Well, thank you very much, Chrissy. And
up next is Holly.
Last but not least is Holly.
Did Chrissy have another
Holly writes, the Sand...
Yeah. Chrissy
did have a second.
Chrissy had another one.
Go ahead.
Okay,
sorry, Holly. We'll get there in a second.
You guys give me things to do, and then you take them away from me, and I was confused again. One more thing. I need to give the 5-minute rebuttal on why they could bring Ian back for a cameo appearance in Series 8. At the end of Death of the Doctor, Sarah Jane said it was a rumor that Ian and Barbara hadn't aged since the 60s. She'd never actually met them to know for sure. Also, this wouldn't be the first time something from that episode had been ignored. The Doctor said he could regenerate 507 times, and, well, look how well that stuck to the canon. Sarah also said that Ian and Barbara were teaching at Cambridge, and, well, we know that isn't true anymore, at least not as of Day of the Doctor, with Ian being head of the governors, or whatever it said on the sign. I'm not saying it'll actually happen, But I'm also not saying it couldn't happen. Sort of like Sean holding out hope that there would be classic Doctors in the 50th, and that turned out to be true. Just not in the way we expected. Okay, I'm done for real this time. I just have to hope this goes through and doesn't get bounced back, Chrissy. P.S.
We got it.
I debate out of love. Don't think I'm being contrary or snotty, just to be contrary and snotty.
No, I'm going to give you that, though, because that's...
I think all of our listeners debate out of love.
That's...
They got to keep us honest.
Yes.
And part of my... I agree with that, Chrissy. You're absolutely right. Part of my resistance to that still is the fact that I like that imagery. That's part of the reason I don't want to see them back, or him back, because I like the imagery of the ageless Ian. But it's not like it's not like I'd hate it if they brought him back. I'd certainly be all right with it.
What if it was William Russell and the woman that played Barbara on Adventure Space Time recast as Barbara?
No thanks. I didn't think the Barbara was all that great.
I didn't either. But
I thought the Barbara was good. The Ian wasn't.
No, the Ian was horrible.
The Barbara was pretty good. I think the Barbara was better than
Susan.
Susan,
Oh,
yeah.
See, I thought Susan was.
I thought Susan was better.
Yeah, much better.
Just curious.
Maybe not the sound, but the look.
All right, Holly, now we're there. The Sandman and Bang Bang a Boom. Hey guys, great last podcast. I'm so looking forward to spring and warmer weather like the rest of our fellow listeners. And no, I haven't moved, though if I ever do, I think I know who to look up, and I'll make sure there's pizza. The Sandman, a good audio that kept my attention. The Doctor being the person behind the Sandman legend was interesting, and we can see how he's not too proud of that moment and does want to change it. Bang Bang a Boom. I like this audio, and I even like the little continuity intros, the new parts of the story, all of what the BBC would do right before episodes would air on television. I'm thinking that this was only a one-shot and part of the story plot. I'm thinking that this was only a one-shot and part of the story plot, but every now and again, with some of the Big Finish audios, I wouldn't mind having a little refresher as to what happened in the episode before, especially if there's a lot of exposition given or a whole lot of action going on in all corners of the story. I was really chuckling when the Doctor was getting pursued by Queen Angvia, and then them becoming a bit starry-eyed about. Oh, and then him becoming a bit starry-eyed about her. I really liked Mel paired with Seven in this audio. The music competition was a cool kind of futuristic Euro version, or would that now be Galactic Planet competition? I was laughing hysterically at the end when the Doctor takes over for Nicky Newman and plays the spoons and actually winds up winning the whole competition. I can just imagine Sylvester in the recording studio playing his spoons all over the place. I'll wrap it up here. Looking forward to hearing what you and the others think of these two audios. Holly from Wisconsin. By the others, I'm hoping she means our listeners.
I think
certainly wasn't just talking to one of us and the other two. And if that's the case, was it me and the others are you guys, or is it... just kidding, Holly. Thank you very much.
Others.
All right, well, let's get into reviews.
The Sandman. When the Sixth Doctor and Evelyn visited the Clutch, a large community of spacecraft that never settle on one planet, Evelyn discovers that the Doctor is held in fear by the Galari. They know him as the Sandman, a figure from their mythology, an ancient boogeyman, and the Doctor does not deny being that which they regard with fear.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, I quite enjoyed this one once I figured it out.
That's the thing with this story is
It's backwards.
It's backwards. It starts off and you get the he's this Sandman, he's this bad guy, he's the boogeyman, and we all know the Doctor. We're all thinking, well, no, obviously that's not the exact truth. And then it's episode 2 that we get the info dump of the backstory,
which feels like an episode 3, and it's like, oh, we're already here? Okay.
Yeah. And you're like, oh, wait, he actually is. But Evelyn still doesn't believe in him, and it goes on, and then you eventually learn what really happens. And I still think at the end of it I was kind of confused. Specifically, why was it the Sandman? Did they give any reason of why he took the name Sandman?
Because it was scary.
That's the only thing I walked away with.
I don't
was
recall,
that fact that it was.
I don't recall an actual reason.
Rationale for that. So realize that Annika Wills was the voice of Narosh?
I did not know that.
I didn't either.
I was a little disappointed. Oh, that's no, sorry. Never mind.
I know where you're going. I know exactly where. I had to look it up. I was like, oh, never mind.
I'll be darned. Annika Wills.
Oh. I thought...
Where's the Big Finish companion, Glenn?
I didn't bring it. I looked. Actually, Holly was asleep, and I think it was in the room. I actually thought about bringing it, but I looked all over the house except for our bedroom because I didn't want to go and wake her up. So.
Yeah, that's a valid reason. I'll let you have that.
Her second part of her nursing school entrance exam tomorrow.
Ooh.
Well, good luck to Holly.
It's the math part, so she'll ace that. She was worried about last week's, which was all the other stuff. She aced it too. So. Okay, well,
and I was thoroughly engrossed listening to the entire thing, trying to figure out what was going on. So I give it full props for that. I like the idea of the clutch and the way they describe the clutch of like a flock of birds, but they're ships traveling through space. Such a clever idea of it kind of had almost a Rings of Akatan feel to it. When they're in the general populous area.
Oh, kind of the Market Square.
Yeah, the Market Square idea. That I really liked that part. I thought Evelyn wasn't given quite enough to do. It was kind of nice when she went off on her own and was able to quickly track down the one dude, Mordekin, and figure that out. But yeah, it was a pretty interesting story, and I don't know what else I thought about it. It's
when I started listening to this, it started off and really grabbed my attention, especially that opening part where it's kind of setting up the story that's going to happen later, and then the whole from there all the way to before the Doctor and Evelyn get to was it Voshkar, the guy that they were looking for.
Oh,
all the way up to that, I was just really confused as to what was going on, and it wasn't until he started weaving the story and they were recounting it for Evelyn essentially that I kind of figured out where we were and what was going on. But I was still really, really lost because they threw a lot of characters at us.
They really did.
They started out with Narosh's story and what happened, kind of setting up that backstory. Then they threw Mordekin at us and
Nintaru.
Yeah, Nintaru and what was going on there. And so it wasn't until I got to that point that I think for me it really took off and started building as a story that I really started. And from there on, I thoroughly enjoyed it. So I actually had to go back and re-listen to the beginning because then framing what I knew about where Narosha was coming from, then going back and listening to it again, it made a lot more sense, even though it kind of had clarified it as they expounded on it and explained it. But I thought it was a little predictable as to... I shouldn't even say predictable, because I think in the back of your mind, you're always thinking, well, the Doctor's really not this guy.
That's the predictable aspect of it, because other than that, I had no idea where the story was going to go.
Right. No, I don't think the story itself was predictable.
The whole Nintaru race or whatever they were, and that whole idea, I had no idea.
Right. But I knew the situation, and I knew that the Doctor's motives were a bit predictable as well. But I was fine with that, because it made sense within the context of the story. What I didn't... and I maybe even saw that there was going to be another element involved that has taken over this role that the Doctor is now, sort of cover's been blown. So all of that wasn't surprising to me, but I thought that the story was well structured and well done, and I thought I had a lot of fun. I thought it was a great. It's a dark story, but especially when we're talking about kids being slain and their skins
flesh off,
being stripped from them. And finding out what this actually was, I thought there was a little bit of more of a maniacal, villain behind this, but it really ends up being more of a situational villain. Yeah. And I kind of like that. That was a surprise for me, so I was really impressed by that.
I think it's predictable in the way that the other Pompeii's story was, Fires of Vulcan.
Yeah.
We know they're going to get out. We just don't know how it's going to happen.
Right.
And we know he's not this villain, but how do they think he's that way?
And why?
And why?
Why did he have to shape
yes.
this?
That's what makes the
fable.
story interesting.
Yeah. It was also interesting to hear it from both sides, because we hear it from Voshkar the first time when he's kind of the Doctor instructs him to tell the story, and then we kind of hear it from the other side of it when the Doctor's actually explaining what really happened and his side of it. So it was kind of neat to see both, sides of how those events played out, and how the perception is completely different depending on which side you're on. I mean, the Doctor still kind of played it up, but it wasn't as much as the what was the name of the Galliari had kind of built this legend up.
Well, as it does with legends and generations, it builds up.
And it also helped that it was also subliminally imprinted on their species essentially. So that kind of lends to the fact that it's built up bold and bigger than it really is, because they feared nothing but the Sandman, and so that was their greatest fear, and so that preyed upon the whole species. If that's your only fear, it's got to be good. I mean, it's got to be big.
And I loved the explanation of why they couldn't quite look at him.
Yeah, the coat.
I was so
Genius.
looking forward to that when there's a blind, and I thought, I wonder if it's the coat.
So you saw that. That was the only part I didn't see coming.
And then we were actually
I thought to
talking
myself,
after last week's
hope
episode, and he
that's
brought
the way
that
it
up, and I had already finished it. And so I had to bite my tongue and be like,
I hope that's what that's going to be, but I hadn't got there yet.
It was a wonderful way to fit an outfit that's always been mocked and hated and just completely dumped upon, to make it part of the story and bring it in as kind of a character in its own right.
Yeah.
That was really neat, because I've never had a huge problem with the coat. I've always liked the jacket. I've always liked the patchworking of it. I will concur it's a little much, but it's never bothered me.
It bothered me initially. It's grown on me so much as we've gone.
It really adds so much character to the Doctor, and when you start watching the Sixth Doctor's era, it's really jarring. But then as you realize it matches his personality,
as you get to know him,
it's really kind of becomes a part of him as well. So, but yeah, I was.
Which I wonder how much
really
has been
pleased.
written in over time to help excuse it.
Well, I wonder
if that.
I think that's probably a recurring theme in the books.
I mean, it certainly is
and
now.
the audio,
but I wonder if during the episodes, if that was given any thought at all.
I don't think during the episodes, because one of the bonus features on Time of the Doctor is Tales of the TARDIS, and it's kind of like a Doctor, the revisiteds that they did, and they talked to Colin, and he went one step further from his revisited special, and explained that they said no to the black outfit and gave him this bright one because, as Jonathan Nathan Turner put it, he's bold in your face, so we're going to dress him that way. So they knew what his character was going to be like, so it was done on purpose.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a planned thing.
Gotcha.
That it fits the personality so well.
I don't disagree with anything either of you said. I think, Keith, you hit it right on the head with the confusion at first, and but we know he's not really this guy. And then there was a moment where I was a little worried, where he was in the conference room and kind of lambasting the guy, and Evelyn's like, "Did you really do all this?" And he goes, "Yep." And it's like, okay, so what's up? There's got to be a hook here. What's the scam?
Well, what helps you in that scene is when he goes on to talk about the murders, and the Doctor's like,
whoa, what? That's when I was like, okay, yeah. He's just scaring him for that. I agree with you. I think Evelyn wasn't quite given enough to do, which was so unfortunate. I was so looking forward to getting back into an Evelyn story because I missed her so much. And then she doesn't really do much in this one. She had great moments with the smuggler, who I thought was a fun character. I liked him quite a little bit. Although, anybody else notice that for an older broad, Evelyn does a lot of hanging out in the space bar. We've had several stories now where she's at the pub. It's like, okay. But it wasn't really until they kind of had a little bit of a story going with the two of them that I kind of felt like, oh, finally Evelyn's, getting something to do here. I was a little confused when they all met back up, because I was under the impression that, okay, we're, like you said, this flock of birds, and so we detached all the airlocks, and she made it in, and he didn't. And then one of the ships, I thought it was Evelyn's, was taken off.
It did.
It's Mordenkainen's
Go
ship,
do something else. But then she meets up with the guy in the pub on that ship, presumably. But then all of a sudden they're running together, and they encounter the Doctor in that other hallway. And I don't know if I missed a part where they redocked, or they didn't cover it, or maybe
I think you're thinking of the part where the Doctor doesn't get back on the ship and is stuck and has to catch. But he basically just has to catch the next transport. The plane he was on wasn't leaving.
Full blown.
He wasn't. They weren't leaving like the system. They were just moving to a new position.
Sort of like
in the
riding. Oh, but was it Mordenkainen's ship, or was it a transport to Mordenkainen's ship?
I don't.
It's like riding the subway.
Like riding a subway, just had to catch the next shuttle or whatever.
That would make more sense.
That's the impression I got.
Oh, okay.
Was
that would make more sense.
It was just it had to change a position in the clutch with whatever ship they were on in order to let somebody else park there.
Oh, so she just had. Well, I don't know about why that would be. Why we needed to run down the hallway to catch this ship if all this ship was doing was moving over to here.
Well. Yeah, I don't.
I got the impression they were leaving the clutch.
They obviously didn't leave the clutch.
To be honest with you, I didn't think much about it.
But the clutch, I thought, was a great idea, and it's a very, very good sci-fi. It's Mass Effect uses this with they call it the flotilla, and it's kind of this big gathering of ships that are just kind of all tethered together. That Talia's people, you have to go out, and her mission is to go out and make something of herself in the galaxy, and then come back and contribute to the flotilla for the rest of her people to support them. Which I thought, wow, this is just like that. This is really cool, because that was one of the really strong story elements I got out of Mass Effect. So I was very pleased with it overall. A little less pleased with the whole genetic race memory kind of cropping up again. That I'm almost feeling like is starting to become kind of a tried and true trope. The first couple of times it's unique, and then it becomes like, okay, we've been there.
What else used the genetic?
It was that Eighth Doctor story.
The Eighth Doctor story,
which would have come after this.
There's one that you guys haven't listened to yet that features it. There's
and which do you? Well, which one is after? Right,
the planet one's the one we're thinking of, and the little girl, right?
Yeah.
The Eighth Doctor story. There's another one that, like I said, it's further down the line that you guys haven't listened to that uses it. And then, there was another one that was a planet or the dinosaur one that I didn't like. The Fifth Doctor one. Wasn't that a genetic race memory too?
No. The one where they were harvesting the bones and they were coming to life. Is that the one you're talking about?
The one none of us liked?
Yeah. The Fifth Doctor story.
But that's not the one I'm thinking of now. There's another one. That was more the I don't. There was at least one other one in here now that I kind of feel like, we've just done this recently. So
I
think
I didn't relate
coming on the heels of the Eighth Doctor
maybe it's
story,
just because of the order that we're doing it in.
I see what you're saying, but it didn't. I don't know. I didn't relate it.
Honestly, this one I didn't have as much of a problem with.
No, I agree. This one, at least, they did it right.
Did it better than the Eighth Doctor story.
Totally.
Maybe that's why.
I think that's why, because it was a device, and that's...
Yeah, no,
they explained it.
It's a small nitpick, but... It's like when you get to the end of a story, and it's like, it's the old self-fulfilling time prophecy. I was like, okay.
Well, the Galliari were anthropomorphized chameleons, according to a comic strip that they did for the story.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. So they're literally chameleons.
They're not bird crocodile.
I too, like Griffey, kind of a half bird.
I imagine chameleons more than anything else when I listen to it.
I thought crocodiles.
Well, the one guy even said, they're like chameleons.
Well, I got the impression that the eyes were, but they also talked about their avian background too, and that they kind of had evolved from birds. So I guess I kind of got this kind of chameleon, maybe half velociraptor, half.
There could be a bit more feathers than what's included on it.
Actually, elites from Halo. That's what I thought
Elites,
of.
yeah, there you go.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
a good description.
Yeah, I like that.
Especially
Nobody
for the
that doesn't play
Warriors.
Halo doesn't know, but yeah, I would
a
agree.
little more reptilian, but that's the shape of the monster.
Yeah, I would,
so.
I would agree. All right, should we move on to Bang Bang a Boom?
On the space station, Dark Space 8, the Seventh Doctor and Mel arrive at the hosting of the Intergalactic Song Contest when a series of murders threatens the peace of the galaxy. Dun, dun, dun!
I loved this story.
I thought you would.
I was
What helps the story is it as soon as you realize it's a satire. That's what really helps the story, I think. When you're not trying to take it seriously.
Or the very opening doctor's log, you weren't chimed in with the very soft music in the background.
And then the dun 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 music every time a murder was mentioned.
I have a theory about this because if I listen to this on face value, or if I take this story at face value, I have issues with it because it doesn't work very well. But I have a theory. I think and I think what backs up my theory is the fact that the Doctor mentions that he always wanted to write the great galactic mystery novel. I think this is the Doctor relating a story to Mel. All the way up to the end. All the way up to the point where you think the story is over, and Mel jumps in and says, "What about this?"
The credit music was awesome.
Yeah, and
that's an interesting way to think of it.
And I think Mel takes over the story there. And the other reason why
there is quite the tonal shift. Then
there's a huge tonal shift. Mel is very bumbling, is very jumping to conclusions. Mel is very un-Mel-like in this story, and it bothered me for the longest time. But following that little division in the story, when the tone changes, Mel suddenly becomes the hero. Mel suddenly becomes the one figuring things out. So I liken it to the idea that the Doctor is telling this story to Mel, and Mel says, "Well, I'll fix your ending for you," because she feels like the ending doesn't work. And then I could buy the story much better.
Really deep.
I didn't mean for it to be deep.
Well, I don't mean to sound surprised that Glenn came up with that, but
he's the one who fixed Love and Monsters for him.
That's true. I did not get that impression until you said it, and now I never thought of that either. I can totally see it that way. That's a really interesting way to look at it. We need to get Gareth Roberts on the show and find out what he intended, because now this has reached Ghostlight proportions of what was going on here. Now I'm really intrigued,
and that's why I think within the Doctor Who universe, this particular satire works, because
it works so well for the Seventh Doctor.
It can.
Yeah,
I mean, because you've got the things like it's obviously a Eurovision satire. It's obviously the Dark Space 8 is obviously Deep Space Nine. I mean, it's just they've taken and they've used. Things that have happened there. So
and the characters.
I was holding my breath that Eleanor Harcourt was Daphne Ashbrook, but it wasn't.
Oh, is that what you guys were talking about?
It sounded like Daphne Ashbrook. There were times where she the way she clipped her words at the end of was just like that's Daphne. It's got to be Daphne.
Was it
and then it turns out it wasn't.
It was Sabrina Franklin was the actor.
Eleanor
Harcourt.
Harcourt. Yeah. She's apparently done a lot of voice work and acting and stuff like this. And I've never seen her anything else. She sounded, and maybe it worked because of the story, but she sounded like an American radio announcer, like somebody trying
NPR.
Too hard. Yeah, and the problem with it is it was almost less acting and more like radio soap drama reading, which I think is what they were trying to reach here. But she was the only one really doing that.
Taking it to the next
level.
Yeah,
exactly.
She is British.
Yeah, I knew that. Yeah.
Okay.
I knew she was British. And that was the other thing that made me wonder is she doing the tone the way that she does it because that's how she can do an American accent? Or is she doing the tone that way because that's how she's translating her role in this story? So
it could be a little bit of both.
It bothered me a little bit. I got used to it as we went on. But it was just a little too sing-songy. And NPR, yeah, that's exactly what... Sean hit the nail on the head there.
Wow, I'm still a story within a story. Wow. Okay, so I have never watched it. I'm kind of in a way ashamed to admit this big sci-fi geek fan that I am. But apparently the two, the Dr. Harcourt and the Professor, what's his name? Fassbender. Were apparently either lifted from or inspired by Space 1999.
Yeah, because,
I think I've heard that.
They're parodies of them, according to Wiki.
Which now I really kind of want to watch that show, even more than I did before.
I've seen about an episode and a half of that, and I can kind of see that. I can kind of see where they're coming from there. I need to see more in order to...
There was a part of me early that, I will admit, kind of got my hackles up a little bit. The Star Trek part of the parody was hitting as close to home as it was. Because I found myself fighting against it for reasons other than, yeah. But they're right. I mean, it really is.
Especially early Deep Space Nine or early
Deep Space Nine, especially.
Yeah.
And just
play along home.
I'm so glad that even as a spoof, even as a parody episode, that the story structure as it goes on, that we're given these characters, and you're thinking to yourself, this doctor is worthless. I mean,
I've tried everything I
not
can.
even the most incompetent of medical physicians would be this bad. And then there's a reason for it.
Yeah,
This science
I really
officer
like that
is
aspect.
Worthless. Oh, there's a reason for it. I mean,
and then I love the fact that they took the science officer one step further. Oh yeah, he's a drunk, but that's not why he's screwing all this up.
Yeah, I know. It's just, I didn't see the ending coming. The peace conference was actually being held. A telepathic imprint. That was a cool idea.
Cool.
I really liked that
cool.
because I had several different theories, and I'm with you. Mel kept jumping to conclusions. She kept chasing people down, and some of that's true because I think she did that in Vervoids a little bit, didn't she?
I don't know. She was a stronger character in Vervoids.
She was a stronger character in Vervoids for sure.
This was more in line with, and I think I felt like the whole thing, and it, obviously because it's Seventh Doctor and Mel, it would have had to have taken place around this, but it really kind of felt in vein with Paradise Towers and Delta and the Bannerman. It really, really kind of felt like that era of Doctor Who there.
Yeah.
So.
Well, because he's mixing his metaphors.
Yep.
And
Well, which this was a way to completely just call attention to it. Where'd this go? Well, this is why it went, because Mel finally called me out on it.
There was so much to like in this, and really, Sylvester McCoy was really wonderful.
He was so good.
Mixing up your proverbs, something like that.
He was so wonderful, and they gave him lots of R words to roll around with.
Annoying. They're really annoying.
No, they're not annoying.
That's what she said.
Oh, that's what Mel said.
That's what Mel said. They're really annoying.
They're really annoying.
See, unlike the one Doctor, I thought Mel felt more like her character in the TV series than she did there.
I can see why you felt that way. She's a lot less than she is in the TV series,
as much,
but it wasn't. Yeah,
I love
she's
her
not
in
the
the one
strong
Doctor
character that she is in the one Doctor.
Well, and I think that's interesting because I kind of thought the same thing. I thought, well, I really liked her in the one Doctor, and I liked her in this. I wonder if the more comedic aspects of Mel are maybe what makes her character work a little bit better, because I don't like her as much when she and the Doctor are butting heads and she's abrasive and drink your carrot juice, and I don't like that. I like strong Mel. I like playful Mel, and so I thought maybe this is the way to write for her, is not necessarily to bring her character down, but to elevate the mood a little bit around her.
That could be.
And so I wonder if, obviously there's a whole bunch more, a big finish to go, so hopefully we'll get some more of them like that. But
because the one Doctor tone was much more comedic also.
Yeah, it was.
So,
once again, we're given we've lost the TARDIS. And I shouldn't be surprised anymore that he doesn't care, that we'll find it at some point, she'll turn up. I'm starting to get a little more used to it, and I'm not offended anymore, but it still bothers me. They blew up the ship. And I loved his line, oh, she's impregnable. Oh. Well, she's indestructible. So the wordplay in this was so well done.
I did have a little bit of a problem at first with him starting to fall for Queen Angbien until they explained it. And then I was like, oh, yeah.
Well, as soon as he said, yes, I was like, oh.
And because I told me by the...
Yeah.
I think I split this up too much when I listened to it because I didn't remember the note he got. Beware the pits of NBR or whatever.
The pheromones come from our armpits.
Yes. What I think it's partially because we just came off of Sandman. The two high-pitched, timid characters kind of got on my nerves.
Nah, it was Mikey.
This one was more
they
Mouse.
Were they were.
I thought Mouse last time too, but until you guys mentioned Mikey.
Yeah, they were very similar, but yeah, it was enough of the first one was more Alpha Centauri to me, and this one was more Mikey than anything. So
the first one was more Alpha Centauri.
The first one
he's saying Mikey is Alpha Centauri.
Oh, Mikey. Oh.
That's why we call him Mikey.
I'm sorry, he said Mikey. I meant Mousy. I said Mikey. Yes. This one was more Mousy to me than...
Which apparently was, according to the cover.
Is it actually a mouse?
There's a little mouse head right there.
Well, I kind of get the just the mannerisms were very mousy.
Well, and I eat when I'm nervous. It's like...
There was such mouse sounds.
It's definitely rodent-esque.
More so than Sandman.
I'm sorry, I meant Mousy, not Mikey. It was more about mouses. No. Did you guys, speaking of the One Doctor, did you catch the one callback? In the One Doctor, it's mentioned that the national anthem for Earth is "I Will Survive," and they.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
They actually start to sing it in this.
I love that the
totally
Ice Warriors were. Ice Warriors are the judges. That was a nice surprise. And then they're gone.
That was the one thing that there were times when I almost felt like I could have done with less of
the song contest.
That some of the performances is just like I don't care. It's Douglas Adams in your humor, and it's getting to that point where I just don't care anymore.
They weren't that long and drawn.
No, that's just it. They kept them short enough that
it worked fine.
They kept them short enough that it was like, okay. And I wondered, why did we keep going back to this announcer blathering on about...
Do you know why?
This, that, once again, they set it up at the beginning and then explained it later.
Yeah, but he was also a nod to an announcer that had done Eurovision since like 1969 to like 1980 something or 90 something.
Well, and it was the same voice actor, I believe. The actual announcer was the guy that played this announcer. I thought.
See that,
maybe not.
But he was definitely channeling him, and that was because he always talked about his wife. He always talked about
Was Nick Briggs in this?
Yes, he was actually.
He had to have been the guy doing
he was the continuity announcer. Nicholas Pegg was in it as an Ice Warrior Jr., and you're probably thinking of Barnaby Edwards.
Barnaby Edwards was the Michael Caine sound-alike there at the end, wasn't he?
He was not in it. Oh, no, he was.
He was a robot waiter and
Tannoy voice. So Tannoy must be who you're thinking of.
Tannoy, I think Tannoy was the announcer.
The one who, when they finally start clamping down...
Tannoy was the announcer. That's who Barnaby Edwards was doing.
Okay.
Because he eventually takes over for the clacky noise creature.
Okay, well then it's not who I thought it was. There was the one lieutenant that, when they finally clap down on everything and start really being, okay, let's drive the story here. Let's
Lieutenant
get everything
Strindberg,
fixed.
maybe?
I don't remember that was his name.
Well,
the security officer's like, no, we've actually scanned everything, but he's doing that,
It certainly could have been him doing that. That's just
it sounds like Michael Caine.
Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah. And I just, the more I listened to it, I was like, I think I know who that is. I don't know. There's just a lot to like in this story, and I think it was done very well, and it was a great time.
It was fun.
No, Strindberg was who eventually became the announcer, so I'm not sure who you're talking about.
Like I said, one of the
announcer that just couldn't really get it.
But eventually did.
But then eventually
got good.
Yeah. No, this is one of those ones that after I've heard all of it and I kind of formulated my opinions, I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was one of those ones, though, that as I was listening to it, and I wasn't quite... I just kept saying, okay, this is a chance. I got to give it a chance. And it just kind of grew on me, and then when it got to I was like, okay, this was really a good story in hindsight. So looking back at it after I finished, it was one of those ones like, I'm not sure I enjoyed the ride, but the conclusion was so good that it made the rest of the ride that much enjoyable.
I enjoyed the ride. I thought it was great.
I grumbled about the ride the first part, and then kind of come to grips with it, and was like, well, this is very kind of Seventh Doctor, so okay.
Well, I think that was what I thought was. I thought they were trying too hard to make it feel like a Seventh Doctor and Mel television story, because, like I say, it's very. I mean, even Delta and the Bannerman and Paradise Towers use parodies of popular culture in the UK at the time, and so that's what I thought they were doing here. But then it felt like it was going over the top.
Maybe it helps that.
But then I think also,
as opposed to those stories, this has an American spoof of Star Trek, and then there's singing contests have become so popular now in U.S. culture.
And this would have been released 10 years ago, or 12 years ago.
That I don't get the cultural references from Delta and the Bannerman and Paradise Towers, which obviously I haven't seen yet. But here I could get the references and kind of understand what they're trying to do.
I suppose that's true.
Well, and if your theory holds up that it's the Doctor relaying a story and it's
don't
all
pop my bubble, because that's why it works the best.
No, well, if that's how all this works, that also kind of fixes one of the things that I had a little problem with, which was not so much that the Queen was able to seduce him, or that he fell as hard as he did. It's pheromones. That's a biological thing. I get that. But when he's relaying it later to Mel about, that thing that I never do, and she's like, oh, that? He goes, yeah, that. She goes, well, 900 years of celibacy or whatever, and it's kind of like, okay, wait a minute, I have to throw up the red flag for just a minute, because I don't believe the Doctor's celibate. So that actually fits in with that better, that, he's playing it up a little bit, and that she's, playing along.
Well, I think sometimes writers play fast and loose with how they think the canon should be.
Right.
Well,
that's true.
Yeah.
No, but if the Doctor's writing it, then that's that's why that works. That's why that works better for me that way. Yeah. But there's just I
Did
really.
Anybody have a suspicion that the translator guy was the one that was doing it?
I kind of figured it out early on,
because when the what was the name of the being,
the gas
thing.
I kind of got the impression in the first time he's like supposedly yelling at them when he was really trying to explain what was happening. That's when I was like, well, it's probably the translator.
It was when it supposedly attacked Mel too. I kind of got
the same thing. Is
that where it was?
Yeah.
That I got this impression that my first thought was, I don't think he's attacking her. I think he's trying to warn her, but he can't communicate with her because what's his name's not there. And then he comes in and rushedly gives an explanation for what's going on. And that was my thought was, I wonder if it's not really him, and that's who we're trying to be led to believe. And I wonder if it's a translator that's not conveying exactly what he's saying.
I think that's where they started laying the groundwork.
Maybe that's
the idea.
Yeah. Okay.
I have to admit, I didn't pick up on that. Golos.
That's right.
I did not pick up on it. I firmly, all the way up through the end, thought it was Nikki. I thought that he was playing, and I kept coming back to, no, but they keep having him and Mel find bodies. And the mystery writer in me kept going, yeah, but that's just what they would, that's how you throw them off the trail. You be the one to discover it.
For anybody who hasn't seen Frozen, close your ears. Spoilers. And I'm not even going to spoil.
You're not going to spoil?
Well, I am, but close your ears.
Close your ears,
I thought it was kind of a Frozen twist, is what I thought they were going with.
I think I know where you're going with that.
Didn't tell me anything.
Good.
And I plugged
well, you should have plugged your ears, because I think if you start watching Frozen, then that might tip you off.
What a twist! But yeah, no, I totally thought Nikki was responsible all the way through the whole thing, and then I kept coming back to the Doctor. I was like, she's too incompetent. She's got to be the villain. And then the diplomat. It's like, oh yeah, wait, no, Mel just tackled her. It can't be the diplomat. That's too obvious.
I almost bit that also.
I almost bit, but I didn't.
And it was kind of funny. you mean she was doing this and I attacked her? Whoops. I'm surprised there wasn't more repercussions on Mel, and that might lend to the idea that...
Well, that was
that
another
it's a
reason why...
book,
Well,
yeah.
the other thing that isn't addressed is the fact that a shuttle with the real commander and pilot blew up, and they died, but it was never addressed that it was okay that Doctor and Mel just suddenly pretend that that's who they are without giving any sort of remorse, or not remorse, but sympathy for the two characters, and not mentioning that at all. I mean, we can only assume that they died.
Well, they kind of did at the end.
We've got.
Well, I guess they did. They did.
We've got a science officer that spends half his time drunk and doesn't know anything about science. We've got a medical officer that doesn't know anything about medicine. I'm willing to bet security on this station sucks.
There's a reason they're hosting the Intergalactic Song Contest.
Which apparently is the actual...
Well, but they didn't know that. That's the brilliance of making it the actual peace conference.
I have to admit, this was definitely one of those where pretty much every time I thought I had it pegged as to who the murderer was, that person turned up dead. So it was like...
I was 10 millennials.
Yeah, it was very... You must have done it. Oh. Well, maybe it was this guy. Oh. Maybe it was... No. I'm not going there.
And I kind of like the wait, this isn't over aspect of it, and then the resolving the bomb situation.
Oh, Gareth Roberts was the news anchor, man.
I was so... I kept looking... I even had a spiel prepared going into this. That I think Big Finish needs to limit themselves to the 2-hour format. If you're going to come up with a story and we're going to do it in 4 parts like Classic Who, that's fine. Give me 4 half-hour segments and give me a 2-hour audio. Anytime I pull up these and I see the running length is 2 hours and 20 minutes, 2 hours and 19 minutes, I kind of go, because...
Does the 20 minutes make a difference?
Well, it's not so much that it does, but it can. Because in my mind, you've already run 20 minutes long. You are over your quota.
So you're already thinking of where can we trim this?
So I think there's a part of me that's already doing that. It's like, well, you didn't need this. You could have cut that scene. And in this instance, I was going, well, you didn't need the song contest. You could have cut parts of this out. So then we got to the end, and the music started, and I had just enough time to think, well, the rest of this must be the preview for next time on Big Finish, and almost turned it off.
Bonus feature.
Or bonus features.
Yeah.
And then it came up with it. Wait a minute. I'm like, oh, we're really going, we're taking this the full 9s, So, bravo.
And it was Holly that, I think, pointed out the spoons in the song contest.
That was so
brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Which, again, the Doctor setting himself up for being the star of the story also lends to the fact that he's telling the story.
Oh, that's true.
I had to meet my adoring public. I half expected there to be a thing that came out of it where they mistakenly, because, I mean, we've already had so much mistaken identity already, why not mistake the Doctor for Nick? And so everybody's going to expect him to play spoons on his next album or something. But then they came out, that impromptu performance by the commander. And I'm like, oh, well, you blew it.
Well, I think I already presumed that he was going to have to be who he was because Nicky was making himself, was making it sound like he was really well known because Mel was the first person he'd encountered.
It's not quite as easy to get away with as, hey, it's Enrico Palazzo, but That was a Naked Gun joke for those of you that didn't get it.
Anything else on this one?
I liked it.
We get that impression. All right. Well,
I like silly. What can I say?
What's coming up on the schedule?
Coming up on the schedule, more Sylvester McCoy. More spoon playing, more running around and being befuddled, I hope. This week, of course, is Planet Comic-Con, so our schedule may be a bit wibbly-wobbly. We are doing Remembrance of the Daleks for Friday Night Who this week, and keep in mind that the 3 of us may or may not be participating in Doctor Who this week, so you're kind of left to your own devices. And then we've got Planet Comic-Con all weekend, and that will be our show. When we come back, we'll be discussing all of the wonderful stuff that went on and happened. The following week is...
let me jump in.
Yeah, go ahead.
Be warned that there possibly would be a delay depending on how tired we are after a full weekend on Sunday night.
That's true.
Very true.
Because we don't record Mondays, and so it would be Tuesday again when we record. I think we'll call it Sunday, but there's a chance this will be out on Monday morning or it'll be out on Wednesday morning. So,
But we'll have a side trip to keep you satisfied.
I hope so.
Well, hopefully.
Maybe.
Knock on wood. In theory.
Glenn may not have it edited. He may be tired. And don't go.
You shouldn't have to edit that.
Don't
He
give
just
him
throws
work.
it up.
That won't be edited. That'll be.
But, knock on wood. The following week, we've got the first 3 parts of The Mutants with John Pertwee. And then what we're jokingly calling the Fan Show 2, which we hope to have some fun pieces of some things for you there. And then we'll finish The Mutants the following week with parts 4 through 6. And then have our Third Doctor celebratory discussion in the 3rd month with The Mutants. And ebook 3, The Spear of Destiny. So that finishes out March. And then fun things planned for April. And I will have an updated schedule posted by the time you listen to this.
All right.
Excellent.
Because I'm working on it now.
Terrific. All right. Well, if that's it for this
Oh,
week.
one more thing before
It's
I forget.
It's not it for this week.
The Bang Bang a Boom.
I was waiting for
I
that to come in.
kept wondering where this damn title came from. It's like, I don't get it. I don't get it.
Well, it was a song.
Yeah, well,
That's
it
another
was?
parody of it.
Oh,
But yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I don't get it. And then the Doctor said it, and then it was, okay.
I said to myself, that's a long wait to get to the title.
I kept wondering how they're, because in some instances you can call it something funny and then we get it, and it's like you don't have to. But this was such an oddball title.
Yeah.
It didn't fit anywhere in there.
It doesn't work. How are
Until
gonna
you get to the cliffhanger.
and then we go
ending.
bang bang. I see what you did there. Okay, I'm sorry. I just had to throw.
No,
it
that's
in.
it.
That's it.
All right. Well, until next week, I'm Glenn.
I'm Sean.
I'm Keith.
Catch you drinking, doing it. Cheers.
Good night, everybody.
Be seeing you.
You have been listening to Traveling the Vortex. Doctor Who and all of its associated programs are owned and trademarked by the BBC. No infringement is intended or implied.